race across the plains. Hope rekindles in the crimson tide, as freedom's anthem calls our names. Great again, we rise as one, under stars that guide our way. A song of promise has begun, and strength returns in light of day. Fields of dreams are ripe once more. Factories hum with honest pride. Our banner waves on every shore, with courage marching by our side. Great again, we rise as one, under stars that guide our way. A song of promise has begun, and strength returns in light of day. Through trials dark, we found our steel. The eagle's cry breaks through the night. In unity, our wounds now heal. We chase the dawn with fearless light. Great again, we rise as one, under stars that guide our way. A song of promise has begun, and strength returns in light of day.
Hey, what's up, everybody? What's up, guys? How's everybody doing? Let me see. What's Jimmy saying? I'm at a liberal beer garden wearing the shirt "Socialism, Let's Starve Together." That's my brother. That's my brother. Awesome. He's representing, guys. No one is telling me the women are all overweight and they're in their 20s and 30s. Oh, my goodness. That's all right. That's all right. What's up, Simon? What's up, Jimmy from Philly? We're going to have more people come in. Let's see what else is going on. What's up, Dr. Jade? How was your week?
Oh, you want to hear about the flood in the basement?
Sure, why not? That's always a good story.
It's not always a good story.
Yeah, it's always a good story. Yeah.
Let's just say it rained on Wednesday night.
Oh, yeah? In the basement.
And it rained in the basement, yeah.
Yeah, it rained in the basement. That sucks.
Not as bad as it could have been. What can I tell you? I
had that happen years ago when I lived in Drexel Hill. Yeah, except it flooded because the neighbor, you know that little hose that goes to the washing machine to the wall. Well, it broke, and she flooded our basement through hers. She had no water at all. It was all in our basement. It was like 3 feet of water, like over $13,000 in damage. Yeah, everything. Yeah, kids' photos gone.
Yours?
Yeah, mine too. Yeah, our kids, that's everything gone. It was all gone. Yeah, destroyed. Yeah, let's go over what we're going to go over this week. It's another fire hose of news this week, guys.
Isn't it always?
Yeah, it always is. I know. Let's go over the main stuff. So, back in the spotlight, Dr. Fauci. You don't know what you're talking about. He's in trouble. It's because Tulsi Gabbard on her day out. I think we played this last week. She, boy, man, she went over all the stuff that he did, and he could go to prison for that. He's got a pardon. I don't know. AutoPen doesn't seem like it's going to work. Right here is freedom isn't dead. in Britain. It's waking up. The same spirit that saved America is still alive across the pond. That's all our guys hear. I want them to hear that. Hey, Anglo, what's up, brother? Good to see you, man. Good to see you. Yeah, that's going to be a big story. Freedom isn't dead in Britain. Here we go. Police took 8 minutes to locate Henry Novak, fatal wound, his stab wound, and then performed CPR right over it. Are you kidding me? What the hell is wrong with them? So, newly released video shows the moment Henry Novak's Sikh killer repeatedly lies to police, telling them his dying victim was racist, drunk, and hadn't been stabbed. And the cop tells him, I know, mate. Something wrong with the bobbies over there. Do you realize how crushing these two Supreme Court rulings is going to be great? Are for the left's sabotage machine. Here we go. This is John Nolte, one of my favorite writers over at Breitbart. Paris socialists use heat wave as an excuse to ban alcohol. Okay. There's over 200 people in Spain that died from the heat. Wow. One of my coworkers, well, she just retired. She's over in Italy right now, and she just posted on Facebook, having a great time, except it's too damn hot. So John Bolton. Oh, man, Mr. I Hate Trump himself in the establishment rhino circle. He just pleaded guilty to a felony count in classified documents case. He took classified documents. When he knew he had these in his possession, he must have stolen them out of a skiff. He was trashing Trump, saying, "Oh, Trump shouldn't have those at Mar-a-Lago." Well, Trump was the president, and he had every right to. And John Bolton never was president. He ran, but he never was. Her face, Scott Jennings, who we love here, gives masterclass on GOP whooping Dems, and Caitlin Collins, who I can't stand. Just can't deal. All right. So now we got.
If there's one woman, boy, I tell you, in the world that I can't stand, and I don't even know her.
Yeah. I know. Just to watch it, she has this look on her face, and it's always, you have no evidence of that. Well, yeah, it's all around you. No, it's not. You don't have any. She's like the queen of performative truth. You know, just because you said it, that makes it true. There's no objectivity whatsoever in her news.
Well, because you said it, if you're a Dem.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Hey, what's up? If you're Republican, you need 18 forms of
good to see
proof.
Yeah, Anglo. Yeah. I heard, man. I know. It was. It's actually nice here today. I can't believe it's like 80 degrees, so it's actually nice today. But Ad Newsom, Gavin Newsom is sick of MS Now and CNN being so hard on him. The Dems need their own media ecosystem. Well, that is your media ecosystem, you idiot. All right. Now, the Lancet is the Lancet.
I know the Lancet. It's a medical journal.
Once very prestigious journal, and then COVID came along and they lied and went along with the lie and all that. And now nobody really gives a shit. But the Lancet study found that Elon Musk will have killed 14 million people by 2030 because of the Doge cuts. Right? Like in other words, the parents can't give their kid a sandwich, can't buy bologna and bread and give them a lunch. You had to cut Doge. Yeah, we did. Former Muslim. This is a pretty good video, actually. Explains Islam's inherent evil and Israel's extreme importance for the West, because they're the ones keeping them in check. I know a lot of guys here don't like Israel, but it's a good video. We were hoping it would fail. These are Democrats. They grapple with the World Cup triumph under Trump, as if it's Trump's fault that they're winning, that they're doing really well. Right? So we'll get into that. All right. FBI announces 7,200 kids were rescued, thousands of predators locked up. How much you want to bet that was tied to the Biden administration? Trump's blowing up narcos. Biden ignored them. Now we're learning just how bad it really was. The Biden administration, we're finding out more and more that those people, like you could see, and I hate to go Nazi, but you can have the whole Nazi, all the generals and all the people in the cabinets and all, and line this administration up, and you go, well, what the fuck? All right, so one killed millions, and the other one, they would have killed millions if they were given the chance. They killed like 12 million. Fauci, I think it was 12 million people died because of the virus that he funded at the Wuhan lab. MS Now, or whatever they're calling themselves this week, guests suffered a total meltdown over the Supreme Court's migrant ruling. Like these people, like they never read the Constitution, right? They don't understand that the Congress, the federal government, has total power over immigration. It's in Article 1, Section 8. It's the enumerated powers and uniform rule of naturalization. So C-SPAN caller blasts the Dems for opposing the Save America Act, right? This guy right here, man, everybody's feeling sorry for him. They call him establishment. I think he's a lunatic, but they call him establishment. Trump derangement syndrome will be the downfall of the Democratic Party, and not for the reason you think. That's a good one. Usha, this is Vance's wife. She tangles with the New York Times and literally brings receipts. She destroys them. It's great. Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House, his idea might be the only way to pass the Save America Act. That's going to be interesting. Kurt Schlichter,
I want to hear that one. I want to hear that one.
Calm down about JD Vance. This guy is interesting. Okay. It's the most honest political video that we'll watch. All right. This guy, not to give it all away, when Charlie Kirk was assassinated, all right, he was one of those. Oh, God, I'm glad. Yeah, fuck him. He's dead. You know, great. He's evil and all that. Where do you watch this video? So Joy Behar, the most misnamed woman on TV, besides Whoopi, Joy Behar defends socialist uprising, claims first responders are democratic socialism. She's one of those idiots that, you know, well, the post office is democratic socialism. No, it isn't. It is like hell. It is like hell. Medicaid is democratic socialism. No, it isn't. You pay into that shit. It's not, you know, the mailman, democratic socialism. No, it's not. I'm sorry. It's not. You pay for that shit. Bernie Sanders and Democratic Socialists unveil a list. You know, they won big in New York, right? You heard? Yeah, they won big. It's like, and people are like, yeah, motherfucker. And I'm like, okay, let me get this right. You guys, the left, you won big in New York.
Yeah, in New York.
Tell us when the Vatican elects a Catholic as Pope next time, right?
Yeah.
You guys won really big in New York. Yeah, right. You know, they give a list of radical demands that, like, you're not going to believe it, all right? Byron Donalds, one of our favorites on this show, he comes out and, you know, the Senate really sucks. I mean, he just comes out and says it. You know, it's a good little video. Ketanji Brown Jackson had a meltdown over the ruling against a Hawaii gun law. The court's objective is protecting guns. That's what she says. All right.
Whatever. No, it's not.
Yeah, I know. And in fact, it was Justice Scalia who did the opinion on the majority opinion for Heller, and he brought the receipts, man. If you ever want to find out, like, the gun rights, what our court thought at the time, and still does actually, about the Second Amendment. Just go read his opinion, because he gets into it. He goes into Black's Law. He goes into writings that were contemporary of the day. And he basically says, look, the Second Amendment is mostly for individual rights to defend yourself. That's it. But see, what happened is in Hawaii, and they tried this. The Heller, this is what's funny. I believe this law, the Hawaiian gun law, was they were trying to say you can't. Part of it was you can't take your weapon outside your house. It's only for your house, only for your domicile. Right. But that's what Heller was about. Heller was a police officer in D.C., wore a gun during the day. He applied for a concealed carry, and they shot him down. Bad choice of words. They turned him down. Right. Yeah. So he turns around and he's like, what the hell? Yeah. And that's what that was about. Oh, Commander, what's up, brother? How you doing? Thank you, sir. Love you, brother. Wishing you all the best. You too, man. You going to stick around?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
The
I don't always wear sandals like they're Jesus Christ.
The Hawaii law was a response to the court decision in Heller and Bruin.
Right. Exactly. Yeah,
because
exactly.
They said, okay, we'll issue permits.
Yeah. They did it in New York.
We're going to make sure that you can't use them anywhere.
Right. That's what they did. They make these special sections, like all of Times Square.
Well, what they did
in New York, you can't because it's a special section that they created.
What they did, for our listeners who aren't familiar, what they did in Hawaii is they said, if it's a private establishment, even if it's open to the public, you have to get specific individual permission from the owner. So you want to go into the drugstore or into a restaurant,
right?
They have to either post a sign that guns are welcome, or somehow you have to know the owner and call them.
And I would say, okay, you do the same thing for the criminals that are going to go in there and start shooting at people.
Well, but the criminals, they don't wait for that. So
yeah, I know.
So Yeah. So the point
I'm
being,
demonstrating absurdity by being absurd.
there you go. So the point being, what establishment is going to splash, even if they agree with it, what
There you go.
establishment is going to put up a sign that says guns welcome?
Yeah, exactly.
Good way to get protesters.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody's going to do that.
Nobody's going to do that. Now, when I got my permit, I had originally got it in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. And the sheriff told me, he said, look, we are the only ones that know you have this. You don't have to tell anybody that you have this. That's your right not to. And I said, well, when I get pulled over, he said, if you're carrying and he asks you, say yes, and you hand him, you hand it to him. And I said, well, what if, check this out. I said, well, what if he asks to see, he wants to see my weapon? They said, you don't have to do that, but some cops might give you a hard time. And then he laughed and he goes, actually, he goes, he goes, why? And I said, well, because I heard they keep it. You just hand it to him. You showed him your carry permit, and he laughs. He goes, only in Philadelphia. And I'm like, there you go. Yeah, only in Philadelphia, the cradle of liberty, right?
It depends where you are. Texas, there's a duty to disclose. So if a cop stops you, you must tell them.
No. I'm talking about sometimes they say, can I see your weapon? Hand it over here. Mm-hmm. And you hand it over and you think they're going to check it. Is it the right length? Is it, what size the magazine, right? But no, they keep it. They go, I'm just going to confiscate this. You're like, what are you talking about? You can't do that. And they do in Philly.
I mean, you can do anything you want when you're wearing a badge, but that's not the law.
Yeah. So I just tell them, like, I was never pulled over for that and had to tell them that, but I would just say, I'd rather not. I'd rather not show it to you. I'd be like, are you ordering me to? Or are you asking me to? Because if you do, that's what you say. Guys, when you get pulled over by a cop in America, when they say, hey, could you step out of the car, please? You immediately ask, are you ordering me to get out of the car? Or are you asking me? Because, and if you say, I'm just asking you, I prefer to stay in my vehicle. If you order me, I'll get out because he has a GoPro on. At least in my state, he has a GoPro on. And if you get out of that car, guess what? You just gave up all your rights. I mean, you're going to have to hire a high-priced lawyer to get over because you voluntarily gave up your rights by getting out of the car. And if he orders you, all your right, he has to watch his ass because all your rights are there. Yeah, that's the truth. I had many lawyers talk about that. Sorry.
It's like if you're talking to a cop. Well, first of all, you should never talk to the cop,
right?
Other than to talk about maybe the weather. But
right,
if they're talking to you, you have every right to ask if you're being detained.
Right. And let's move on.
If they say no, then you say, well, may I leave now?
Yeah. Senate Democrats suggest it may be time to replace Schumer and Jeffries and let others lead. She really gets into it too. Well, we'll just go down the rest. I'm going to start now. Let me see. What's here? Okay. So let's get into this. Oh, we got some good videos too. Let's go. So Dr. Fauci is in the spotlight again. This is American Thinker. It's a pretty good website. So let's go. Tulsi Gabbard. I think we played part of her video last week.
You played most of her speech.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because I did a video on it. Yeah. So I just played my video. All right. So Tulsi Gabbard, she was the DNI. She just left. Recently declassified records concerning U.S. funded biological laboratories overseas. Right. We went over. He bypassed. There was a panel that had to approve grants. He bypassed it. And it was because Obama, to his credit, guys, who said that? Yeah, it was Obama who told him, stop doing the gain of function stuff because it's too dangerous. He went, okay, Mr. President, you don't know what you're talking about. But so what he did, he then funneled money to the Wuhan lab, and they did it there. And so I think he's responsible. But they did it through a third party, right? Eco Health Alliance.
Yeah, I mean,
David Seichik or whatever the hell his name is.
Depending on which path he was using, he had like 1, 2, or 3 levels between him and.
Yeah, well, I heard it went through Eco Health Alliance, and that was it. Because I didn't hear about 2 or 3. They usually do 3 or 4 ways of separation, but I heard it was just the one. But that's not important right now.
Yeah, anyway, it's not important.
According to information released by the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, the United States supported or funded more than 120 biological research laboratories in over 30 countries. We had a lot of them over in Ukraine, as a matter of fact. Yeah. Many of these facilities conducted what some contend were legitimate public health and disease surveillance work, yet the disclosures also revived longstanding concerns about oversight, transparency, gain-of-function research, which Fauci absolutely lied in front of Congress to the Senate, to Rand Paul specifically, and America's decision to collaborate with foreign labs, including facilities located in countries that are strategic adversaries. Okay. For years, Americans were assured that international biological research I can't even get through this without laughing, were essential for preventing future pandemics, meaning pandemics, right? Today, however, many are asking a different question. Why would the United States share sensitive pathogen research with countries such as China? Because Fauci was a lunatic. Look what he did with the dogs, with the beagles and shit. I mean, he was a fucking lunatic. He loved the gain of function stuff. Loved it. Just loved it. You know, you had viruses that would never go to humans, and he goes, "Oh, we'll see about that. You don't know what you're talking about." All right, the most famous foreign biolab was the Wuhan Institute of Virology, giving millions of dollars involuntarily by U.S. taxpayers through grants administered by EcoHealth Alliance and the National Institutes of Health, the NIH, which supported coronavirus research involving bat viruses and their potential ability to infect humans. Now, why would you want to create something like that? Because we want to know what would happen. No, because you're using it as an effing weapon. I'm sorry. It's the only reason you would do that is as a weapon. And now they're working on the Nipah virus. That's kind of dangerous. The stated goal was to better understand how viruses might jump from animals to people. Yeah. And think about it, Jade. You're the medical expert here. They wanted to see how it would jump to humans. So they made it jump to humans.
Yeah.
Think about it. They had to do the gain of function research. That means we're going to biologically engineer this shit so that it could hit a human. It could go into a human. So they replicated in a lab. What's that?
But there was no gain of function research.
Of course not. There was no gain of function research. You don't know what you're talking about. All right. Supporters viewed the research as let's get down to what the hell she's talking about. Did Anthony Fauci mislead Congress? Yeah, it depends on what your definition of gain of function is. Okay. Fauci, then director of the NIH, well, the NIAID, the de facto COVID-19 spokesman during the pandemic, repeatedly testified that the NIH had not funded gain of function research at the Wuhan Institute of Virology. No, not at all. EcoHealth Alliance did. He didn't know he literally at one point, I didn't know what they were going to do with that money. Okay. That's why you went around the panel that has to approve a grant. All right. However, we now see that simply wasn't true. He's up shit's creek. He thinks he's standing behind a pardon, an auto pen pardon. I don't think so. The NIH simply funded an entity that in turn funded Wuhan. In a sense, it's like hiring a hitman, but saying you're innocent because you did not pull the trigger. That's a great analogy. Critics of Dr. Fauci argued
that doesn't work, by the way.
I know. Critics of Dr. Fauci argued that those statements may have relied upon narrow regulatory definitions, they created a broader public impression that no taxpayer-supported research had enhanced dangerous viral capabilities. You don't know what you're talking about. All right, he goes on. From this perspective, Fauci's testimony amounted to what some describe as technically accurate but practically misleading. Critics contend that Congress, journalists, social media companies, and public were left with an understanding that differed substantially from the underlying facts. Fauci's bureaucratic defenders see the issue differently. They note that gain-of-function research has specific regulatory definitions. We didn't do it. It was those slanty guys over there. Definitions, and that Fauci consistently testified according to those definitions. Under the framework used by NIH officials at the time, supporters argue the Wuhan-related grants did not qualify as prohibited gain-of-function research. Again, then why did you go around that panel that was supposed to approve any grants that go out? Because you knew it wouldn't go out. You knew it wouldn't be approved. But psychobabble is still psychobabble. Government officials frequently choose words that are technically defensible while still leaving audiences with a mistaken impression. But deceptive truth is a net lie. Americans deserve better. All right, the consequences extend far beyond a congressional hearing room. During the pandemic, Americans who questioned official narratives found themselves marginalized. A lot of people lost their jobs over that shit. Social media platforms restricted or removed content. Right here, they did it. Videos disappeared from YouTube. Facebook users experienced their pages being throttled. Right here, 98%. Individuals who suggested that COVID-19 may have originated from a laboratory were frequently labeled conspiracy theorists and publicly shamed by Anthony Fauci and other experts who authored some of the wildest theories on the origins of COVID-19, including insisting that it likely originated in an exotic animal wet market selling monkey meat. This raised, the bats were hooking up with the monkeys. Okay. This raises a troubling question. Were Americans discouraged from asking reason? Of course, questions because government officials and major institutions prematurely declared certain topics settled. Look, Facebook killed a summit of doctors around the world that were talking about how they were treating their patients and they had really good results. Facebook cut it down saying, oh, it's all misinformation and disinformation. Yeah, medical doctors, from the guys with the sheepskins on the wall, went to med school, treating their patients, saying this is the protocol. The first one was the Aussies. I remember they were talking about the ivermectin. And I remember reading it in the beginning of the whole pandemic, and they said that after the second dose, people lost all their symptoms. And I was like, way to go. I got to get me some of that. And guess what? It saved me. I had Delta, and I took it after the second dose, day 2. All my symptoms went away. So it was great. But there is,
what's his name? Robert, the guy who basically invented the
Malone.
Malone, thank you. I couldn't think of it.
Dr. Robert Malone.
Yeah, and they silenced him. He basically invented mRNA technology.
Well, yeah, he pioneered the technology. My sis is here. What's up, sis? Good to see you, sweetie. Sorry, spelled wrong. All right. Anybody else here? Is Ludwig here? Let me see. Hey, Ludwig, what's up, man? Good to see you. Sorry, guys. A lot of times I miss it. Oh, let me see. Anglo, dude. All right. We need the U.S. to invade England. We're up against, dude. I got some stories here for you that you're going to like. Thanks for covering Henry Novak. Yeah, rest in peace, brother. Yeah. We got a few stories here tonight that you're going to like. Thank you so much again, Anglo. I appreciate that. But let me see. What were we talking about? What was it?
I was saying Robert Malone invented.
Oh, yeah, Malone. He invented the protocol, and then he said that that he invented the protocol, but then he had to leave. But he said that the problem was every time they put mRNA into the human body, that your immune system killed it. And he said, so the way, not him, he left by that point because he went to some other project. But he said what he learned was that they then found out that, like, they studied which immunoreceptor that we have was killing it. And they put something in the medicine to kill that immunoreceptor, which is why now the Lancet and what was it? There was a Japanese doctor who wrote a real big piece, and there was another. It was the food and chemical toxicology piece or something, periodical, and they basically came out and said, okay, so now because the people that took that immunoreceptor, there's like 12 of them, and they killed that one. So there's all kinds of things that now you could get cancers. You could get sick from all kinds of crap because you don't have that immunoreceptor anymore. And so they wrote those pieces, and I was like, dang, and they all wrote pretty much the same thing, but they did it independently. That is a not a war crime, but that's a crime against humanity to say, I got to get this mRNA inside you, so I'm going to kill your immune system as far as, whatever, that immunoreceptor was. Now, fact checkers, I just read all this stuff in the Lancet. Okay. So.
Well, I don't know if this is something that get you in trouble, but when Fauci was doing his HIV, how do I say this carefully?
I know.
There were, he was doing things with healthy people that resulted in some illness that, including pregnant women, that I don't know anybody who just doesn't shake their head.
Yeah.
If you catch my meaning.
Yeah, I know. I know what you're saying. All right, I'm going to play a video now.
He was basically spreading it.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to play a video now. It's Freedom Isn't Dead in Britain. It's waking up. The same spirit that saved America is still alive across the pond. And you know what? That's made up of people like Anglo here and the rest of the crew that comes over every week, who we love, by the way. So let me bring that up. It's 12 minutes long. We don't have to play the whole thing, but I want you to hear like the beginning of it. Let's see. Yes, this is it. Let's bring it up.
This year, in speeches about transatlantic ties, both President Trump and Secretary Rubio traced their ancestors' journey from the old world to the new. I'm not as important as them, but I have an important English ancestor. My great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather, William Bradford of Yorkshire, sailed from Plymouth, Devon in 1620 for a new promised land. Aboard the Mayflower, he signed the Mayflower Compact, the Pilgrims' first instrument of government, and went on to govern Plymouth Colony. The Pilgrims fled Britain because the law forced them into the Church of England, a lordly power, they said, that offended their faith. In writing this speech, it occurred to me that one lesson we might draw from this episode is that religious extremists who find themselves in Britain, whose religion contradicts British law,
It gets better,
should
guys.
get
Trust me.
out. But in all seriousness, we call the Pilgrims pilgrims and pioneers, not refugees, because what they fled matters less than what they built. And here is the part few people know. The Pilgrims did not aim for America first. Not at first. They tried Holland first. And in Holland, they gained freedom from the Church of England. But they found that they were losing something else, their Englishness. Bradford, my ancestor, wrote that he feared that his children would degenerate culturally, taking on the language and life ways of continental Europe. He did not want his descendants to become Europeans.
Right.
Speaking as one of them, I think he chose wisely. So the Pilgrims packed up their families and their church, and they risked everything to choose America. And they did not do it for religious freedom alone. They did it for what they called the rights and the posterity of Englishmen.
There you go.
So they crossed an ocean and they built a land they called New England.
Yep.
Not all Americans are blood descendants of Englishmen, but in a deep way, we are descendants of England.
Irish, Scottish.
Our language, our civic associational norms, our laws, and our intuitions about greatness, about what has made our civilization great, and about what it means to be great again. They come from—
You took the greatest empire that was ever known, and you helped us create the greatest empire that's now ever known.
from you.
And thank you.
We share them with you. And we've got plenty to lend if stocks run low. 10 years ago,
I know, brother. Thank you so
Brits
much
made the
again.
same
man.
choice
Appreciate
the
it.
Pilgrims did.
Englishmen
They
fighting
left
Englishmen.
Europe in a bid
1776,
to
blatant
remain
color war.
English. The Brits
Absolutely.
voting for Brexit thought this would free them from a fake consensus that seemed to strangle the post-war West and dictate decline. A fake consensus that you could never turn back the boats. A fake consensus that our good lives represented ill-gotten gains to be redistributed through open borders.
Right.
A fake consensus that generating electricity or building anything from a train to a house was presumptively forbidden. Overthrowing that consensus is what Britain voted for, but it's not what Britain got. If you take your cues from your social media feed, what Britain got instead was a meme dystopia called the UK. In the UK, you can be remanded without bail for an inflammatory tweet, while a psychopath who seizes a 3-year-old and feeds him to crocodiles walks free.
Yep.
In the UK, the moral sense of jurors won't save you because jury trials for speech crimes are abolished. In the UK, a girl can escape from a rape gang, flag down a police constable, and discover that the cop is in league with the rapists. In the UK, you get a free car for pretending to be disabled. In the UK, cops defer to a murderer who calls his victim a racist. Then they handcuff you as you bleed to death if you're white. That's the Britain you see online.
Yep.
And I'm not here to tell you, as your reminders do, that it's all misinformation or mirage.
Right.
But this demoralizing doom cartoon, the UK, also is not the real Britain.
Right.
It riffs on the worst headlines, but it omits something more important: the English people.
Thank you. Thank you.
The
Thank
English
you.
people is the title of a picture book commissioned by the British government during World War II. It was part of a series called Britain in Pictures, meant as a morale booster to remind Brits what they were fighting for as they battled Hitler. It turns out to be written by none other than George Orwell, who gives his description of what he considers the English national character. The English, Orwell says, have several distinguishing traits: gentleness, love of animals, obsession with sports, bad taste in art, and a deep respect for the law. Even in London, he says, a newspaperman can leave his papers and coins out in the open with no fear of them being stolen.
Today?
Per Orwell, it need not be the case that violence and anarchy are part and parcel of city life, so long as your city remains populated by Englishmen.
Thank you.
Orwell writes about the English, quote, "The feeling that your spare time is your own, and that a man must not be persecuted for his opinions, is deeply ingrained.
And you can too for just $12. I'm kidding.
And the centralizing processes of wartime," he means, "have not destroyed it." He goes on, "Freedom of speech is a reality. Extremely few English people are afraid to utter their political opinions in public, and there are not even very many who want to silence the opinions of others. A real totalitarian atmosphere in which the state endeavors to control people's thoughts as well as their words is hardly imaginable."
Under Biden, they tried to do just that, but sorry.
Hardly imaginable. Some of you might think that passage aged poorly, that censorship in Britain is easily imaginable today. But on this third day of ARC, speakers were asked to sketch and inspire paths forward. And so to imagine another path, I bid you look westward, because the truth is that we Americans, your descendants, found ourselves in a very similar position just a short time ago. 6 years ago, American tech companies colluded to censor a sitting president, President Trump, in a spectacle that the Russian dissident Alexei Navalny likened to Putinism.
Right.
And during the 2020 election, Americans were blocked from—
And to this day, those Democrats and leftists would say, well, we had to. He was a threat to democracy. We had to end democracy to save it.
messaging each other, even privately, about a scandal involving Joe Biden's son.
What's up, Ludwig?
Just 5 years ago, a signature piece of America's national infrastructure package consisted of tearing up highways on the ground that they were racist. 3 years ago,
you remember
the
that?
United States government—
Remember that? Pete Buttigieg.
Yeah,
Remember
there was
that?
something about the
Roads are
highway
racist.
the road went under a pass, and the bus from the bad area of town couldn't get under there, something like that.
Yeah, well, what he was talking about too was during the FDR said to Black Americans, vote for me and I will give you jobs. And he did. But he said, we're going to build a ton in the cities, in America's cities. Now you vote for me and I will get you jobs. And he did. But the jobs that they got were building the bypass highways so that the white people could drive from the suburbs and get into the city where the real jobs were. So they didn't they call it a bypass. They bypassed the black neighborhoods. They didn't have to drive through black neighborhoods to get to the real jobs. And when the bypasses were done, they were out of jobs. But FDR got their vote.
Sued SpaceX, one of the world's most innovative companies, for not hiring enough asylum seekers. And just 2 years ago,
I believe it,
America was letting would-be illegal immigrants pre-schedule their arrival in the United States using a smartphone app.
Anglo, they did the same thing to Texas. I mean, they allowed upwards to 20 million. They're saying it's between 15 and 20 million that came through during warm diarrhea brains Biden's term, right? Well, El Paso used to be a nice little quiet town in Texas, right across the border, right? 10,000 people a week were coming in there, and they weren't leaving right away. It was overwhelming the town, right? And then Governor Abbott had a great idea: start shipping them off to the blue sanctuary cities. And the Democrats said, this is horrific. Look what this Republican got. No. You are still supporting a retard president, brain dead, president, who was letting these people in, not even vetting them, not doing medical checks, none of that. And a lot of them are going to harm you and your family, right? And so why should they get all the fun? So he funneled them off.
When Americans voted for change in 2016, the same year you voted for Brexit, a delusional establishment recoiled and coped. They blamed foreign interference and algorithms and racism for what they insisted was some blip, some tantrum that they could diffuse and suppress. They thought they'd manage us into submission. But I don't think you have, mate.
I love this woman. She's awesome. Hire her for the administration.
The American people knew better was possible. So
Luigi, what's going on, brother?
The largest IPO in history just happened, and it was for an American manufacturer building cutting-edge rockets and satellites right there in America. We are approving new nuclear power plants for the first time in decades, and by 2050, we will be generating 5 times as much electricity with them as we do today. Not only have we stopped flying illegal immigrants into the country, we've stopped admitting them at all, because stopping them was always possible.
Let me say this. When the Italians came over in, when was the 18th? I don't know when, but when they came over, and there was a big wave of Italians that came in because we needed them, right? For certain jobs, right? That they were really good at. Well, we shut down immigration totally. Today, people are like, why would you do that? That's a wreck to our democracy. No, because we had to let them assimilate. So we just had upwards to 20 million people, probably more than that, from the gotaways, right? So we had 20 million people from, let's call it, I have a new term now that I call it, and it's called third world Marxism. Okay, these are third world Marxists. Okay, people that have an attitude, you know, well, the government screwed me, so you owe me, mother. Well, you owe me a living, right? Third world Marxists is what they are. And so he let 20 million into our country in under 4 years. Do you know what kind of havoc that was causing? No, because our press doesn't.
Arrivals at the border are down literally 99%. We lacked only the will, and now we have it.
Yep, and so do you guys over on the pond. You do too. I can see it.
Okay, so
you're not giving up, and you're fighting back.
From 2019 to 2021, during peak.
What's that?
This must be new math. Okay. Now I know it's been a while since I was in grade school learning math, but let's see if I got this right. There was 11 million illegals in the country before Joe Biden took office.
The ISIS brides,
plus 15 to 20 million that he let in equals the current estimate of 11 million illegals in the country.
Yeah, that's because they think that for every illegal that left since 1998 that came in, another one left. That's what they want you to believe.
I just figured it was new math.
That's not mathing. Yeah. They've been saying 11 million for that long because they think you're stupid.
They said if they've been saying it that long, it must be true, right?
Oh, it has to be. Sure, of course.
The United States murder rate went up 35%, the biggest surge in our history. Last year, the murder rate fell 20%.
Why do you think that is? Because he shut the fucking border down. That's why.
The largest drop in our history. And now America's murder rate is the lowest it has been in more than a century.
You know what that means? That means you guys here who voted for Trump, you did that. You did that.
Yeah.
I did that. Jade, you did that. Everybody here that voted for Trump, you did that. Even our friends from across the pond in the oceans. You did that because you guys were cheering it on too. And you guys need a Trump. That's what you need. You need a Trump.
Yeah.
Someone that has balls that says, you know what? Call me all the freaking names you want. I don't care. I'm going to do what's right for my country.
And I just on that topic, I remember I read not long ago that last year in Virginia, in Fairfax County, 75% of the violent crimes were committed by immigrants.
Oh, well, that's just, you're a racist.
Yeah, I know.
That's just racism.
Numbers are racist, you know that.
Yeah, they are. Crooked.
That is what is possible when you reject helplessness and reject decline.
She's great.
I'm confident Britain can make the same journey.
Here we go. This is when
because the English people that Orwell wrote about as Nazi bombs fell are not gone.
That's right.
Some people look at Britain's thousands of speech arrests per year and see only tyranny.
Can you imagine?
But I see something else. I see Orwell's common Englishmen still with us today, indomitable and uncowed.
Yep.
whether his rulers honor them or not. He knows what his rights are, and he keeps demanding them.
Guys, I want to interrupt again. I'm sorry. I'll stop doing it. This is why I watch 42 every Saturday night. That's why.
This country famously has no written constitution. It only has a millennium's worth of unwritten traditions. Yet those traditions by themselves made Britain one of the freest countries in the world for centuries.
Yep.
They made Britain great because her people were great. Through the greatness of her people alone, Britain created the rights and freedoms it bequeathed to America. That greatness enshrined the property rights that let the British gentry create modern capitalism and launch the Industrial Revolution. That greatness endeavored not just to conquer the world, but to civilize it. That greatness destroyed the slave trade and kept Britain from falling to fascism or communism amidst the Great Depression and 2 world wars.
Yep.
And in Britain, it is the people, the British people, that must ultimately triumph. In the words of one of our great shared forebears, Blackstone, the British Parliament has the power to do everything but make a man a woman or a woman a man. I understand that even that has become a hotly contested limitation. But the point remains. The British and their institutions may not be greater than nature, but they are great. And if you organize, and if you plan, and if you vote, you can do all that we have done and more. Britain will be great again because her people already are.
Yes, you guys never lost it. That was awesome. She was great. Yeah, because you guys never lost it. I hear you every week.
I hear you guys are in the midst of getting rid of Keir Starmer, which is kind of
he's already resigned, didn't he?
Yeah, he's resigned. That's the best thing that can happen to you, in my humble opinion.
Yeah, it was it was no confidence.
Yeah,
that's the one good thing about Parliament.
He didn't even wait for the no confidence, right?
What's that?
I don't think he even waited for the no confidence. He just
said, he knew he was done. He had to get out.
Yeah, he knew he was done.
Yeah, and I think he just
said I'm out.
I think that's why the guy up in Canada is talking a lot. He doesn't want to get his own ass thrown out. That's what I think anyway. But all right, let's do the next story. Let's do this one. Here we go. This one really pisses me off. Let me present it. There we go. Zero Hedge. I like Zero Hedge. The police in the UK took 8 minutes to locate Henry Novak's fatal stab wound, and then they performed CPR directly over it. You can't make this shit up. You can't make this shit up. All right. So the case of an 18-year-old white British student, Henry Novak, has delivered yet another layer of disturbing detail. Here we go. Officers from Hampshire, is it Hampshire or Hampshire? And Isle of Wight Constabulary arrived at the Southampton scene roughly 5 to 10 minutes after he was stabbed 5 times with a ceremonial knife. A knife that they say is for his religion so they can carry a knife. You carry that kind of knife, your ass could go to prison. Henry remained conscious and spoke loudly at first. He told them that he had been stabbed and he could not breathe. You got to be St. George Floyd in order to believe that. They chose instead to believe the man who had just knifed him. New evidence released this week shows it took those officers a full 8 minutes to discover the fatal wound. He's lying on the ground saying, "I've been stabbed. I can't breathe." And I'm like, yeah, all right. In fact, they drug him on the gravel, from what I understand. They drug his ass. During that, I get so pissed. During that time, they lifted Henry, striking his head against a wall, and later began CPR. A female officer started compressions. According to the transcript and reports, officers performed chest compressions over his clothing and directly on the area of the stab wound. Good Lord. Total fucking incompetence, right? Okay. Body cam footage shows officers dragging Henry across gravel, turning him and forcefully pulling his arms behind his back to apply handcuffs. He lost consciousness within 3 minutes of that restraint and was pronounced dead at 37 seconds, at 0.37, sorry, on 4 December 2025, after 51 minutes of resuscitation efforts. a pediatric critical care specialist with battlefield medicine experience, Dr. Clinton Mahinger, reviewed the footage and postmortem report. He concluded there was a high probability that the police actions contributed to Henry's death. You think?
You think?
The main source of bleeding was damage to the subclavian vein, Venus. Venus, thank you. Bleeding on, that's why we have her on the show, guys. Venus, she's the expert. Venus,
you got subclavian, though.
Yeah.
You got subclavian.
Yeah. Subclavian. I know. I just did it. Never mind. I just did it like it was spelled, right? Venus bleeding under low pressure often forms a natural clot that can slow or stop on its own. Forcefully twisting the arms behind the back and handcuffing likely stretched the vein toward the forming clot and triggered sudden massive internal hemorrhage. God. Dr. Maginger stated, I am convinced that if Henry had arrived there alive, the doctors would not have let him die. He added that paramedics arriving first could have given Henry a roughly 50% chance of survival through fluids, tranexamic acid to stabilize the clot, and other interventions. Southampton University Hospital, a major trauma center, was only 2 or 3 minutes away by ambulance. Good Lord. Oh, man.
Well,
so the police contributed to his death.
Yeah, let's just say they certainly didn't help the situation.
Yeah. Let me see what we got here.
Yeah,
I am sick of this, tired of this shit. I know. I'm sick of it too, Commander, where certain people, because of who they are, it's identity politics, guys. It's communism. It's all identity politics. It's third world Marxism. Go ahead.
I haven't heard of anything going against those cops. Has anything come up about that?
Yeah, guys, do you know if anything is going to go after them? Probably not.
Yeah.
Idiots, and they're still not sacked or in jail. Exactly.
Yeah. They need to be investigated, but nobody will probably do it.
I know. It breaks my heart too, Anglo. We need capital punishment. Yeah. Oh, but that's undemocratic, don't you know? Let me see. I suspect a lot older, wiser UK police have left the force now. They've just been replaced by dim-witted woke bullies. Yeah, exactly. An eye for an eye. Exactly.
You know, I would never celebrate or wish this on any person, any family, ever. But, you know, maybe if this motivates the general populace, his death will not be in total vain.
Right. All right.
I hope I said that respectfully.
Yeah. Here's the follow-up to that. Ready? Newly released video shows moments Henry Novak's sick killer repeatedly lies to police, telling them his dying victim was racist, drunk, and hadn't been stabbed, as cop tells him, I know, mate. Let's just get down. I don't want to read through that garbage. Well, it's the Daily Mail, but I want to get down to the video. So let's see this. Let's see. Warning. The follow. Oh, hold on. What do you think? Can we show it?
What does it say?
Oh, it says warning. The following contains images that some people may find.
I think we're probably fine.
Okay.
I'm going to guess.
All right. If not, we'll just remove it.
We'll remove it.
You've been stabbed.
These are police, guys. Fact checkers. These are police and EMT. Look at this.
Right, let's get you out of there, shall we?
I've been stabbed. You hear it? I've been stabbed. He said it again.
Grab his other arm. Right. What's happened to you, right?
3 times now. 4.
You've been stabbed? Whereabouts?
Oh, 4.
Don't think you have, mate.
6 times.
My dad's keeps dropping side to side, so I'm just trying to keep him set up. He's jumped over these fences and stuff like that.
Has anyone been hurt other than him?
Yeah, me. He's grabbed my brother. He's took my turban off.
You hear this shit?
Grabbing my head.
Are you injured?
Yeah, I've got swollen eye, little bruise.
All right, just step back a little bit for me.
Can you believe this shit?
Hand.
Oops. Sorry. I'm sorry, guys. I can't watch the rest of it.
Yeah. So
me.
Henry Nowak bled to death from not being stabbed.
Right. Exactly. No handcuffs for the murderer. I know. Is that not, you know why? Because the cops have been what's the word I'm going to try to say? The cops have been wussified, right? Hey, Spanish Chicken, what's up, man? Good to see. I haven't seen you in a while. How you doing? How you doing? Thanks for coming, man.
Say that word with a P though.
What's that? Yeah. That's why I didn't want to say. But they've been wussified, right? Because their government. I mean, we went through that here, guys, where our cops realized that the government, Democrat governments, were no longer going to back the blue, right? And when that happened, a lot of cops stopped showing up right away. You know, they used to do pre-crime work where if it was like 3 o'clock in the morning, there were 3 guys hanging out on a street corner in Chicago, they would pull over and go, give me some ID. Well, you motherfucker. No, give me some ID. And people go, hey, you don't have to show you. Well, you should. All right. I would want them to give the ID because if something happens in that neighborhood at 3:15 a.m., now they know who to go to. Right. There were 3 assholes standing on the corner drinking beer and joking around, smoking pot. Right. 3 o'clock in the morning. They could have just got off work. Okay. Yeah. Brainwashed. Exactly. Yeah. That just pisses me off.
Yeah. I think they did arrest the murderer. Finally.
Oh yeah. They got him. Oh yeah. Yeah. And you know what? Oh, we have another story. Hold on. We have another story where he's crying in jail. Let me get that one. Let me see if I could. Did I put it up? Maybe I didn't. Hold on. Yeah, the guy was crying in his prison cell. They put him in like a rough prison cell. Hold on. Let me see. Henry. There's 3. Where's the third one? Said to be cowering in a cell. We're gonna love this one. And once again, one of my favorites, the Daily Mail. Most read. I know some of them are liberal, but here we go. Henry Novak's murderer, Vikram Dickwad, said to be cowering in cell after being moved to Monster Mansion jail, where Ian Huntley was killed. Let's go. Let's raise this. Henry Novak's murderer is said to be cowering in his cell after being moved to. I just read that. Okay. Vikram Dickwad, 23, was transferred from Winchester Jail to HMP Franklin. Is that county, I guess? Durham this week, a prison dubbed Monster Mansion, thanks to the reputations of his fellow inmates. Good. Let's hope they give him a warm welcome. He now joins the likes of murderers Levi Belfield, a serial killer and rapist, known for murdering schoolgirl Millie Dowler, and Wayne Cousins, the former police officer convicted of kidnapping, raping, and killing Sarah Everett. Following his conviction, Digwa has been transferred to a Category A men's prison where Soham murderer Huntley was fatally assaulted in February. Another inmate has been charged with his murder. Knife-obsessed Digwa stabbed Southampton University student Mr. Novak, 18, to death last December with an 8-inch ceremonial dagger. Digwa, and I'll bet he did nothing. I'll bet if there was a go cam around, he did nothing but walk down the street. Digwa, who was a Sikh who did not know his teenage victim, but lied to officers at the scene by claiming Mr. Novak shouted racist abuse, punched him, and knocked off his turban. Do you really think that happened? You think that kid? You take a look at the kid. Yeah. He's a normal kid, going to grow up, probably be a banker, a lawyer. I don't know. But you guys call them barristers, I think.
Two things.
I mean, think about it.
2 things. Number one, no, I don't think it happened. Number 2,
I don't either.
It really doesn't make a difference.
I know it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't. You don't stab somebody for something like that 6 times. Come on,
calling you a racist name, even if he did.
Earlier this month, Novak was then arrested as he lay covered in his own blood before dying alone, humiliated, and handcuffed in police custody. There's a lawsuit, man. Hopefully you can sue for that. I don't know over there. Earlier this month, Digwa was jailed for life with a minimum term of 21 years after a jury found him guilty of aggressively pursuing Mr. Novak and stabbing him 6 times, including an 8-centimeter deep chest wound. Look at this guy. Now, you think that kid, right, clean cut, good looking chap, you think he's going to knock this asshole's turban off? Are you kidding me? And you know what? He wears it for ceremonial reasons, right? Well, they wear it on the outside. So this guy's going to go, yeah, motherfucker. Come on. There's not enough beer this kid could drink to have the balls to go up to some a-hole looking like that who's carrying a knife and knock his turban off and say racist shit to him.
Yeah, and he
Come
wasn't
on.
drunk. The guy said he was drunk. He wasn't
No,
drunk.
he wasn't. He wasn't drunk at all. I know. But I'm saying, even if he was, right? I mean, anybody believe that? No. And the cops shouldn't have believed it either. But you know what? Like Ludwig said, they're brainwashed. They've been told by their superiors, this is how you got to be now. And nobody can figure out why, other than it's got to be money. They got to be paid for all this. All those Muslims going over, and Sikh aren't Muslims, but in fact, the Sikh usually hate the Muslims. Whatever. So Digwa is said to be an enhanced inmate at the prison, meaning he receives 33 pounds a week and has access to gyms, workshops, and extra phone calls. Does he get to carry his knife? It is a religious thing. But guards are monitoring him around the clock due to fears that he could harm himself with that knife or be targeted by other inmates. Speaking to The Sun, a source said he's cowering in his cell and doesn't want to mix. He's already had threats and is aware of what happened to Huntley. He's in a really bad situation and knows it. Not that anyone feels sorry for him. Exactly. Look what you did. Now, I'm not going to say it, but anyone that knows this channel knows what I'm thinking. All right. News of Digwa's situation comes as his sentence was referred earlier this week to the Court of Appeal. Solicitor General Ellie Reeves, KC, applied for the jail term given to Digwa to be reconsidered under the unduly lenient sentence scheme. She said, "This case horrified me, and I know that feeling is shared by the British public. It is right that difficult questions need to be answered about the way police handled Henry Novak's murder." Exactly. While my role is to review Digwa's sentence for his crimes. After careful consideration, I have taken the decision to refer this case to the Court of Appeal. No sentence can ever undo the devastation that Henry's family have suffered or fill the void left by his loss. But I hope this referral goes some ways towards bringing them justice they deserve. Digwa was given a life sentence for stabbing Mr. Novak with a ceremonial knife with a 21-centimeter blade that he claimed he carried as part of his Sikh religion. Yeah, sure. His religion was to stab innocent young guys. He had previously been investigated by the police in 2023 on suspicion of stealing ceremonial blades. That's part of their religion too, you bigot. From Sikh temple in Southampton, but no further action was taken. Of course not. Passing sentence at Southampton Crown Court earlier this month, Judge William Mousley, all right, pushed back on accusations of racism against Digwa, saying of Mr. Novak, "I'm sure that Henry said nothing racist." Good judge, good man. "You are the only person to make that claim, and it is completely at odds with his previous character." There you go. Widespread outrage followed the release of police body cam footage of the student being arrested. The footage showed Mr. Novak handcuffed as he lay dying after Digwa falsely claimed to be the victim of racism. Novak could be heard repeatedly telling officers, "I can't breathe." Well, I heard him say 4 times, "I've been stabbed." I heard him 4 times. So I didn't hear him say he couldn't breathe at all, but we probably didn't see the whole thing. But still, man, that just pisses me off.
Yeah, I'm you know,
right. Oh, I know. They'll get him. Oh, yeah, I know.
I'm hoping that somebody in there takes a liking to him, actually, if you take my meaning.
Oh, yeah, I know. Well, that's what Ludwig basically said. 21 years, he'll be out with half sentence disgrace. No, I think that's Anglo. I think they said he got life, but the first chance he gets to be released is 21 years. Yeah. So he'll be out. Yeah, half his sentence. No, I think they said that 21 years is the least that he'll do, but he's in there for life. Let's hope they never let him out. Well, let's hope they bury him under the prison.
I'm hoping somebody makes him their girlfriend. That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah, they do have messed up beliefs, man. Yeah, I know. All right, let's do Nick. Now let's do a video because we've had a lot of crap. Oh yeah, I got 2 Tom Homan videos. Let's see. Let's do the first one. 2 really good videos of Homan standing up for Trump and whatnot. So Tom Homan just demolished Trump's critics in one fiery speech. Let's play this one first. We got to go out. Got to go here. Here we go.
I don't want to hear another damn word about President Trump being inhumane. He's saving lives every day.
Yeah, it's all the way up. Listen to this. This is great.
There's been studies done that 31% of women, and these studies are done by independent groups, up to 31% of women that make that journey coming to the United States get sexually assaulted. 31% admitted they got sexually assaulted making that journey.
So it's
Oh,
more
I think
than
it's
that.
more than
31
that.
admitted it. How many is that? How many is that number really?
Right. That's what he's saying.
So when President Trump has illegal immigration down 97%, how many women aren't being raped?
Right.
How many children aren't dying making that journey?
Right.
How many known suspected terrorists aren't coming into the country? How many pounds of fentanyl isn't coming across the border to kill Americans?
There it is. Right there.
President Trump is saving thousands of lives every month, but no one wants to talk about it.
That's right. No one wants to talk about it.
Yeah.
So now let's go down. He has another one here. I think this is the better one. Hold on. Here we go.
It's not up.
Oh, it's not? Oh, I'm so sorry, guys. Hang on. Let me bring it back. I thought it was. I must have canceled it. Sorry. Thank you. Is this the second one? I think it is. No, that's the first one. Let's go here. This is the second one. There we go. No, hold on. Damn it. I thought, yeah. Oh, Jesus. All right. I was right the first time. Okay, here we go. So let's share this tab instead. Sorry.
Hey, I say you got 2.5 minutes left. To
Here we
the
go.
media. Stop attacking the members of ICE. These are I want you to know the men and women of ICE who I was one. Look, I wore that Border Patrol uniform. I was an ICE agent. When I was a director of ICE, I didn't ask any of the 20,000 men and women that worked for me to do anything that I didn't do myself.
Right.
I know what these people deal with. I know the death threats are up 8,000%. I know that personally. That's why I'm surrounded by security detail. I got 24/7.
Right.
I can't even go to the grocery store without security detail. But to the haters and cartel members who threaten me, come get some because I'm tired of you.
Right. They will try. He's stopping their poison from coming in. Yeah, he's stopping all their poison from coming in. Let me see if there's another one. They do. No, that was it for that. But I like him a lot. Yeah, he's basically saying, hey, guys, shut the fuck up. We got results here. You know, we know you guys don't care because of TDS, but the rest of you, you know, I want this guy make a great mayor. Yeah, you know what? The second coming of Frank Rizzo. I was thinking the same thing, Louis, just now. I was like, this guy would be like a great mayor for a Democrat city. And he talks like a Democrat, you know, his inflections and all that, but he's intelligent. That's the difference. You know, he's intelligent and he gives a shit about America and about the American people. That's what I like about him. Won't be protected, the snack bar concession. All right. Well, let's see. We got another one. Where is it? Yeah, Kevin Warsh, man. Let's see. Is this, how long is this one? This is, I'll play this later on. There's Promethean Action is a group. It's a political action group. It's been around for a long, I think since the 70s. And two women are their main spokesmen, Barb and Susan. And I'm going to play it, but later on towards the end because it's long. But it is one of the most important videos. Yeah, I'll play it. Hang on. A link, what, for the video or? But check it out. So it's where she's talking about how the new guy that Trump got in there for, he's the shit. Now I can't think of it. The money guy, not Treasury, the Fed. Sorry, he's the new chairman of the Fed, and the things that he's talking about in his belief system, America is going to explode with jobs and with money and with success. Which means what, guys? We always know this. It means the rest of the world will too. If they want to work with us, the rest, our allies will you'll kick ass along with us. And that's, and it's because Trump is pushing the American model which was around since the 1800s. And then it was taken away from us 80 years ago when the globalists created, well, they created globalism, and then it turned into communism, and then they blamed the Jews. So that's the history of it. Okay. So let me see. What's that? Jerky Boys. Do you remember the Jerky Boys? Seriously. Do you remember the Jerky Boys?
I have no idea.
All right. The Jerky Boys were these guys from New York, I think Brooklyn. And they put, this was before the internet, you know, and they put, I mean, the internet was just starting to come out, and when the end of their thing, and they just put these videos out of them making prank phone calls, and some of them were the funniest damn things that you ever heard. Just prank calling people in the middle of the night and whatnot. Is the one, like, I'll give you a real quick one. The guy was like, he was calling for a job, right? And the guy was talking to him. He's like, yeah, you know, you can come down and do that. And so you hear this woman in the background going, I need to use the phone. Yeah, Saul Rosenberg. Yeah, I need to use the phone. And he's like, and she keeps saying it, and this guy's supposedly talking to a potential boss, and he goes, shut that F up. I'm on that goddamn phone, right? And then he goes, yeah, so anyway, so if I could, and the guy's like on the phone, like, oh, okay. He's like, so then all of a sudden, she's like, I have to use the phone. And you hear him like beating the hell out of her, but it's not happening, right? It's like one of his friends beating the shit. And he goes, oh, dude. He goes, oh, man, I think I went too far this time. And he goes, what's going on? He goes, I don't think she's breathing. He goes, all right, well, you know what? I don't want. He goes, no, dude, you got to stay on the phone. He's like, why? What can I do? And he goes, well, you got to be a witness. Like, you heard her, like, interrupting me while I'm trying to talk to you. He goes, no. It was hilarious the way they did it, though. Yeah, they're really funny. Anyway, so let me get back to Josh Holmes, Hakeem Jeffries, slide towards. Yeah, this is a pretty good prediction. Let me get rid of the commercial, and then I'll play it. This is come on. Okay, come on. This is Josh Holmes. Let me bring it up. This is good. This is Hakeem Jeffries will go to the far left. He has to, right? That's what they're saying.
At this point, they're pretty committed to the bit. Socialism is now driving the bus within the Democratic Party. This was an exceedingly rough night for Hakeem Jeffries. But if history is your guide, Hakeem Jeffries is going to take up the mantle of the Democratic Socialists and begin to sort of parrot what it.
Believe it or not, Jeffries is a typical politician. That. Yeah, thank you. He's a typical politician on the left, but when you compare him to like the five or the squad, I'm sorry, the five. You consider him to the five members of the squad. He's establishment. He's not radical crazy. Okay, he's crazy, but in his own way, he's not radical crazy. He's crazy where he'll look you right in the face when Trump has the greatest ratings, saying, well, this is why he's losing everything. He's dumped down in his ratings, got the worst ratings of any president at this time. It's like Trump's like up at 55, 60, right, for the moment, right? Well, that's how crazy he is. But in this, he's going to go radical left because he has to if he wants to become speaker.
It is that they're calling for, because they are beating him up one side and down the other in every one of these elections.
I mean, I guess the whole mantra here is if you can't beat them, join them, Lydia, right?
He sees where the energy of the party is, and he's trying to embrace it and jump on that bandwagon. But of course, he's not going to be included. Once these people get more and more power, he's going to be the first to go. And so it's interesting that these sort of so-called moderate Democrats are trying to ingratiate.
In other words, he's not as evil as Nancy Pelosi was.
Themselves to these super far left figures, but it's not going to work out for them. And what is going to happen, and we're already seeing, is they're alienating key demographics of people who have historically been Democratic voters. In New York, we saw Black, Hispanic, working class voters are now increasingly alienated from these figures because the new Democratic Party is woke, overly educated, super far left figures. One of the women who won, Avila Chevalier, she's been getting her PhD for 7 years. She's been in college since 2012. She is not representative of the concerns that the average person has in America.
Probably never had a real job in her life, too.
Yeah. What did she say, that the Democrat voters are educated?
Yeah. Well,
okay. Hang on.
Go ahead. I want to hear this. Go.
Yeah. Democrat voters are educated, but Democrat voters are not intelligent enough to get ID. Okay, which is it?
I know. That's the whole thing. Let's see what's next.
Blowing my mind here. Blowing my mind.
Yeah. So here we go. Let's go down our list. Let's see. Do you realize how crushing these two court rulings? Yeah, let's go over this. This is great. The lib nuts are having a field day. Oh, I can't take it. All right. So let's see. Let's pull it up. The left wing has worked hard to find very clever ways to stop President Trump's agenda without ever winning an election. Yeah, they use judges mostly. The formula was sinister and simple. Trump announces a new immigration policy that cues progressive activist groups to race to court and file a lawsuit. A friendly federal activist judge somewhere in California, Hawaii, or D.C., sometimes New York, slaps an injunction, a nationwide injunction when they're a district judge, slaps an injunction on the policy, and just like that, everything grinds to a screeching halt. The left is hoping that months drag on and turn into years, letting the lawsuits pile up, and hopefully the policy dies a slow, lonely death before the American people ever get to see if it works.
They don't know. They don't know Trump very well, do they?
Right. Now, SCOTUS actually told the administration, if you might have missed it, on one of those with Boasberg, it's not legal what they're doing if they go outside of their district. They didn't say this, but they basically said, ignore it. But see, Trump, the administration has not ignored. You got the lib nuts on Facebook, Trump just violates the law. No, he doesn't. He follows everything to the T because he knows that no matter what, they're going to jump on him. So he follows everything all the way through, right? He's a transactional guy. Well, did this work? No. Well, we tried that. Let's try something else. That's why he never gets angry, if you notice. Like a lot of politicians, well, if you're a liberal, Democrat, you have to be mad all the time because that's the only way you can motivate your dumbass voters. So this was the left's weaponized political strategy for a while, and it worked. It stalled Trump's agenda, tied up his policies, and gave activists more time to fight every move in court. But it also backfired. Trump quickly pushed these cases through the judicial system, and now these rulings are helping pave the way for mass deportations, and they tie the left's hands in many respects. You know what else he did that I thought was freaking brilliant? You have people in New York, like illegals that they captured, right? And that Boasberg a-hole, he would try to throw something. You have to keep this guy here, and he has to go through 50,000 more court hearings, right? So what did Trump do? Because it's a federal system, he would move him to Louisiana, where there is a facility there for illegals, but the judges there are very conservative, and they love the Constitution. And so Boasberg, you got to bring him back. We don't have to do shit. You're a district judge. We put him with another district judge who's going to make the correct ruling.
Yeah, and right? he's in federal custody.
Yeah, he's in federal custody. So I don't know what you're bitching about. That's what they're doing, right? So let's see. But under the left's plan, one activist judge could overrule the executive branch and leave Americans wondering who was actually running the country. The guy they voted for or the unelected radical judges, right? But now the Supreme Court has just changed that in a very big way. 2 immigration rulings handed down the same day handed Team Trump 2 huge additional wins. But even better, they strike at the legal heart of the left strategy of endless litigation and injunctions. The days of using the courts to automatically freeze every immigration policy may be finally coming to an end. So let's get into it. So yes, you read the headlines, and it sounds like Trump won more immigration cases. And that's true, but it barely scratches the surface of what's really happening. So this is from Edward Winslow. Let me tell you what the courts cannot stop it means when SCOTUS says, because I'm sure most people don't know. It means the Ninth Circuit is done. For years, the Ninth Circuit blocked every TPS termination. That's temporary protected status. They say, well, you got to let them stay here. You can't let them leave. What makes you think? Well, it's called temporary protective status. Temporary means it's temporary, dumbass. Every metering policy, every turnback order, judges in San Francisco and D.C. issued injunctions the same way DHS tried to enforce anything. That was the strategy, not the law, the injunctions. On June 25th, 2026, SCOTUS ruled 6-3. Who do you think the 3 were? In 2 separate cases, same day, same margin, both times. Case 1, federal courts generally cannot review TPS termination decisions. Kristi Noem's calls are now shielded. No more injunction shopping. That's the one thing she did that was good. Case 2, if you're standing in Mexico, you have not. Yeah, this is a big one. They tried to say, as they were filing, the left tried to say, as someone was filing an asylum claim in Mexico because we had remain in Mexico, it means that they're in the United States. I think it was Alito that said, wait a minute, what what does the word in mean to you? You know, so it was like case 2. If you're standing in Mexico, you have not arrived in the United States under federal law. No right to apply for asylum. No mandatory inspection, no foothold. And see, this is huge because that's what the Dems were doing. They would say, they sent Cara and all these other illegal immigration lawyers, right, into Mexico on the way up. And they're telling them, look, all you got to do is claim you need asylum. So you're in like Flynn, because they're going to give you a quick hearing, and then you're going to go, and then you got to come back for your deportation. Don't go back. You know, you don't have to. It's like a temporary amnesty for you until you get caught again. Like, that's what they were doing. And so the Supreme Court just said, no, screw that. And here's what nobody wants to say out loud. 350,000 Haitian TPS holders are now in deportation proceedings with no court able to pause it. Imagine that. That's the work of the Trump administration. Every asylum seeker at every port of entry along 2,000 miles of border is now legally turnable before they take one step on U.S. soil. No.
Yeah, didn't they get their TPS like in 2011?
Yeah, temporary means forever. Bigot. The metering policy was blocked for nearly a decade. It's back today with Supreme Court backing. This is the same playbook that ended in 1954 when the court finally gave the executive branch back its balls, immigration authority, and it took 30 years of litigation to get there. The courts cannot stop. It doesn't mean Trump won a policy fight. It means the legal infrastructure the other side built to slow enforcement for years just got ruled unconstitutional. They can't do it anymore. Now, of course, they're going to do it, but it just means that judges have to throw it out. 2 rulings, 1 day, 0 injunctions left standing. I'll share more updates shortly. Turn on notifications. This is great. Let's this for a little
And the
bit.
Supreme Court out with another decision, this time regarding the fate of certain migrants living with temporary protected status. There are a bunch of them, and Shannon Bream joins us again with more. Shannon, how do we read this one?
Okay, so Dana, we read it as a win for the Trump administration, which has wanted to wipe out temporary protected status for more than 1 million people who are living here in this country. These cases centered on a number of Haitian and Syrian refugees who were here in the country. And basically what the court has said is that they can't challenge this decision by the Department of Homeland Security, by the administration, that they're the ones who get to make the assessment about whether they leave or not. I haven't read the whole thing, but they do get into some of the claims that by some of those who are advocating for the Haitian refugees, that there was some kind of racial animus. The court says they don't see evidence of that. So I'll keep reading, but it's another very fractured decision that seems to be a win for the Trump administration, which would be the second win for them on immigration. That earlier decision that we talked about that came out just a few minutes ago saying that if you get to the Mexico border, but you don't make it onto U.S. soil, you can't file an asylum claim. So the Trump administration has to be happy about
it all
what
locked
they've
down
got today. We've still got 8 opinions left, and it looks like Monday will be our next opinion.
Nice. I say they just get a 50 cal along, put them in guard towers with searchlights at night, just fire. I'm not fact checkers. I'm not saying shoot anybody. I'm saying scare the hell out of them.
Some people may find that just slightly radical.
Yeah, I know. We'll sing a song.
We do not advocate violence in any way, shape, or form to any person.
There you go. Thank you. Let's see. Scott Jennings. Gotta love Scott Jennings. Yeah. He was up. He wanted the job as that Caroline Levitt had. Press second. He would have been fantastic. All right. So let's see. Is it up? Yeah. Okay. Her face. Scott Jennings why is this not moving? Scott Jennings gives a master class in whooping Dems, and Caitlin College just can't deal. So let's just watch it. Let's see if we can.
Look, gas prices are not up; they're down, below $4 a gallon nationally. Oil's trading at $71 a barrel.
Yep.
We don't run the gas price tracker on the screen anymore for a reason. It's because it's a non.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm not making fact checkers. I'm not making fun. But does she not look like a man? Hello? Anyone? Crickets? She looks like a guy. Looks like a guy.
Story. The pool was vandalized.
You don't have to say it.
You keep bringing up the pool. It was vandalized by people who were so broken-brained about our politics, they went out there and vandalized the pool. It's in the court documents, which you can read yourself today. And as it relates to cost, the Republicans cut taxes. Working people all over this country got major tax refunds. We have a booming job market. We have a stock market that's up. Right now, we have an economy that's on the upswing because of Republican policies. And we've got insane Democrats winning primaries, promising socialism all over this country.
Exactly.
Those are the facts, and that's the argument that will be carried to the election.
Nice. She had to sit there and listen to that. Is there another one? I hope.
So what do you think? What do you think?
Nah,
The socialists winning these elections, and, you know, I've heard someone say that it might be good for the Republicans, but it's bad for the country.
What's that?
That
The socialists?
Socialists winning these primaries.
Well, my answer was this. Like I said it earlier. Wow. So in New York, the Democrats, the leftists, the commies, they won a lot of seats. Oh, wow.
Yeah. This is my shock face.
Yeah. Meh.
For me, I want all of these whack jobs to win.
Oh, yeah.
Because the further out there that they are, the
more they talk, the more they give their ideas, the more people vote Republican.
Yeah, the further out there they are, the less likely they are to get elected in the general election.
Black Eyed Peas was singing a song, Chickpeas. Dude, I thought it was going to be something dirty. That's why I didn't post that right away.
That was a dad joke.
Oh, was it? Dad joke?
A dad joke. It's just a bad dad.
Yeah. That's why Linda said, Lou, okay, Dad.
Yeah.
Dad joke. I get it.
Yeah, you get it now?
Yeah, I do. All right, let's get to another one. Let me see what's good here. Let's bring it up. Share screen. There we go. So the Lancet. You got to see this. This is great. It's on Twitchy. So a Lancet, if you guys don't know, it's a very prestigious medical. Yeah, it used to be, yes, and then until COVID, and they fell for it, and then they got ordered to lie, and they did, and I believe fact checkers check me on that. So Lancet study says Elon Musk will have killed. So in other words, he didn't kill anybody, right? Will have killed 14 million people by 2030. As Twitchy recently reported, Representative Ro Khanna, who's in the news, all the rage now, the new face of the Democratic Party, challenged Elon Musk to a debate after Musk had said he'd had enough of Khanna and it was time to sue.
Was that before or after Khanna went back the next day and backpedaled on everything and said
because well, first of all, he could be sued. There's slander and libel there. Khanna was running around saying that Musk had to answer for the 4.5 million children sentenced to death by Doge cuts. So in other words, what they're saying is that, these children, they couldn't eat like their parents. I said earlier, their parents can't buy bread and bologna, can't make them a peanut butter and jelly sandwich for lunch. Really? You can't do that? You can't do that? You got to get U.S. aid to spend billions of dollars and throw little slices at programs while, the NGOs take the majority of the money. No, sorry. It's not Elon Musk's fault. And you want to know something else? We are sick and effing tired of paying for these bullshit programs. Think about it. You never voted to put your money towards these programs, right? I never did. I didn't even know about them. They're spending our money and we don't even know what the hell they're spending it on. Who does that, right? A day later, Atlantic contributing editor Norman Ornstein claimed that 1 million people, half of them children, had died because of dismantling the Democratic slush fund known as U.S. aid. So which is it? 4.5 million or 500,000? But wait, there's more. This was written by AI. Oh, man, he wrote AI and didn't know it. All right. The Lancet, the world's top medical journal, they got it right, Dr. Jade, has done a study estimating that Musk will be responsible for 14 million deaths by the year 2030. Okay. So Khanna got his numbers from a study in The Lancet. The Lancet is also where NBC News got its story that global heat deaths are projected to increase by 370% if action is not taken to limit the effects of global warming. In other words, if we can't stop Americans from having a good time, we're all going to die from global warming. The world's top medical journal once also called women bodies with vaginas and its cover story on the cultural movement against menstrual shame. I don't even want to read that. All right. Other news outlets picked up on the study when it was published last June. Let's see. More than 14 million people. It was this AFP News. Who cares? Rick Saunders, the Times, and he says, yeah, sure. Okay. Let's see. So Lancet. Wow. So Lancet is now a joke and should be mocked 24/7. Good to know. Yeah, it's true. Lancet also published that COVID was from natural origins. Exactly. I'm glad everybody knows it. Wow. Projecting projections. LOL. That's pretty funny. Get back to us when an actual number is tracked. Also, did the Lancet's methodology include where exactly USAID payments ended up? No, it didn't. Not pure propaganda. All USAID had to do was provide accounting and records of who and what the money was used for. Should be the standard practice for any NGO receiving tax dollars. You know what? Conservatives were too busy working. The Dem voters were too busy getting that money. Because the Democrats, long time ago, they ran out of ideas how to make your life better. And so they figured, I'll pay you to vote for me. And this is what they did. They created all these crazy programs. Obama's the one, I believe. Fact checkers, check me on this. Obama's the one, I believe, that created all this potential for fraud. Because he set up the pipeline of federal dollars to go to NGOs and other groups that they formed in, Minnesota, California, Washington State, New York, all these, New Jersey, all that. All that fraud we're finding, Obama had a lot to do with the funding of our money going to those things. More propaganda. Elon has never had decision-making authority. Exactly. That's exactly right. Like Trump even said it. He goes, look, Elon's doing fantastic work, but I make the final decision. And that's the way it's supposed to be. But the left on like MS Now, Richard Maddow, she was saying, like he wants to be the guy in charge. Like everybody has to report to him. Well, that's kind of like how it works. It says so in the Constitution. It really does. He runs the executive branch. These people are nuts.
Yeah, I'm confused. He's the boss.
I know. Doge could investigate waste and fraud, but it didn't have the power to shutter anything. It's exactly right. No way it's going to be 14 billion people by tomorrow. Yeah, sure, Jam. All right, we got enough.
Yeah, I can think of a few people I wish were in that total, but
yeah,
I
know
people like Rokana.
I know. All right, here we go. Here's another good one. The Democrats, the left, is actually upset that we're doing well in World Cup.
And fact checkers, it's an opinion, a poor one, and a bad joke.
No.
We do not advocate any type of injury or violence for anyone.
Oh, no, never.
Ever.
We were hoping it would fail. Democrats grapple with World Cup triumph under Trump. It's funny how they think a president is responsible for a win or a loss. It's a bit shocking, but the Democrats are actually admitting they are mad the World Cup events are doing so well in the United States. You know why? I promise I did not read this. The reason why is because millions of people from other countries are coming to participate, to watch, right? To attend, right? And they're finding out how great American culture is. I mean, we played a video last week where it showed that like the news in the UK basically says, oh, America, Christ, that's a land of you get slaughtered going to their cities. It's terrible. You don't want to go there. It's not. It's actually wonderful. And the people are coming here going, oh, my God, the food is incredible. Look at the views. And, look at these cities. Look at this town. Oh, my God. They're just absolutely loving it. And the left can't stand that. They can't stand it.
Saw this guy from Japan, and he's sitting down to a barbecue.
Yeah.
And he takes this big bite of the big old rib.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And he's just like in heaven,
I told my suitcase there'd be no vacation this year. Now I'm dealing with emotional Dude.
Okay.
Where are you getting these? All right.
What gives?
Throwing a flag on that one. All right.
It's another dad joke.
Yeah. Spoil sports to the nth degree. There you go. What's that? Reading my book on anti-gravity. It's impossible to put down. All right, dude.
Okay. Come on.
Let's see. Yeah. So I'll start over. It's a bit shocking, but the Democrats are actually admitting they are mad the World Cup events are doing so well in the United States. They were hoping it would fail because Trump is president. Meh. Meh. So nothing like rooting against your own country. Yeah, they had there was a woman in New York who's running for Democrat. She's running for I think for the U.S. House. Yeah, and so it was her and some other guy. I can't remember. He was like the head of some, I don't know, left-wing Nazi thing, and so the guy, the host was saying, oh yeah, so who are you rooting for? And they're like, oh, one Senegal, and the other one, oh yeah. I was like, wait a minute, idiot, you're running. She says Senegal. I was like, you're running for office in the United States, and you didn't say America? Yeah, well, I don't have a chance to win. Yeah, but you should still say America, you idiot. No, but you know what it is? Maybe not, because the left hates America. So they would vote for her because she hates America. Oh, yeah, she's like me. I hate this country, too. But they won't leave, will they? The triumph of the World Cup's first 2 weeks, boosting the U.S.'s global reputation with sold-out stadiums and few logistical complications, has forced Democrats who had criticized President Donald Trump's role in preparations to grudgingly reconsider. Quote, I think that there is a little bit of like liberal wish casting that this would maybe be a disaster as a sort of stick it to Trump, said Rob Flaherty, the digital Democratic strategist and soccer fan who attended the U.S. group stage match with Australia. It hasn't yet been. Why would you want your country to flop? Democrats admit they only want America to win when one of theirs is in the White House. Now, there was a study that was just done, James. I heard it Mike Slater on Breitbart News Daily. He said it. He read it out. And it's like Republicans, overwhelmingly conservatives, no matter who's in the White House, they want to see America do well. They want to see your teams do well. They want to see business do well. They want to see people do well. They want to celebrate our holidays and all that. Not so with the left. They only celebrate when their people are in power. That's how they think. Like they think that whatever the administration is doing is what makes us great. They don't get it that, just like in the UK, they don't get it that here we are the people that make it great. Americans are the reason why the country is great because it's American. That's how we are, right? But they think
you mean like the bunch of people who were rooting for Iran?
Yeah, those. Yeah. But the point is, Democrats and libnuts, same thing. They only celebrate America when a Democrat's in the White House. That's it. If it's a local level, Democrat has to be mayor. Otherwise, like, this country sucks. Well, why does it suck? It's like, imagine, Trump won the next day. Geez, now we suck. It's like, wait a minute. You thought it was wonderful yesterday. Yeah, but now he's in charge. Are you that stupid? Yes, I am. Boyle's enthusiasm places him in rare territory. Though other prominent Democrats, including California Governor Gavin Newsom and Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro, I stole the election in 2020, along with Mamdani and Cheryl, have all attended games. Few among them have been willing to articulate anything that sounds like praise for the authorities putting on the event. Quote, let me be clear. My comments are irrespective of the Trump administration. They had to go out of their way. Frankly, his immigration policies for the last year and a half did scare some people off from coming to the United States. Yeah, illegals. All right, said Boyle. The credit goes to the local host committees. Okay. Some Democrats willing to admit, unmitigated success also had to make it clear he gives no success to Trump, only the local host committees. Think about that. Of course, Democrats can't act human for even 5 minutes. Yeah, all right. A nasty way to live. What is? Perfect photo. They look like they were sucking on lemons. Nothing like rooting against your own country. Yeah, look at that. They're all upset. Oh, damn, people are loving this shit. God, I live off the misery of others. We don't hate the media enough. That is so true. Fact check ours. We don't really hate on anyone, but we don't hate the media enough. Every new day is a new reason to hate them. Sometimes all I can do is laugh. Democrats grapple uncomfortably with World Cup success. Isn't that crazy? Guys, come on. Well, you mean to tell me that Democrats hate America? I'm hearing this for the first time. Of course they hate America. No one needs a few World Cup wins to understand that. These people tell us how much they hate our country on a regular basis. Let's see. I got to see this. Just 2 days ago, they nominated a woman for Congress who tweeted about how she uses the American flag as a napkin. Did you hear about that? She said, I ran out of napkins, so I just wiped my hand on the American flag. But she said it like to get applause. Like she said it to like go viral if somebody put it on online. That's crazy, man. That's just crazy. Oh, well. Let's stop sharing there. What else is there? Trump's blowing up narcos. Biden ignored them. We're going to suffer total meltdown. It's just, I hope it's a video. Yes, it is. Okay. Let's see what the meltdown looks like. Okay. So it's MS Now guest suffered a total meltdown over the Supreme Court's migrant ruling. Supreme Court issued a major ruling on temporary protected status. We went over all that. Let's watch. Is this the meltdown? Cue the meltdowns. Let's go over here. Take it to X so we can.
I want your reaction to what Fallon just laid out for us there, and the concept here that the court is ignoring the history of this administration's remarks about Haitian people in particular. I don't think there is a single American who can say they actually forget what we heard from the president, what we heard from Vice President Vance about Haitian people, just some of the most disgusting.
Yeah, some of the most disgusted. They were eating cats and dogs. You know, there were multiple people that said that, yeah, that's what they were doing. Multiple people. So, I mean, that's it.
And racist remarks. You can.
So we're not racist remarks.
I know that you were.
I'm sorry, saying that I saw in the news that they were eating cats. How is that racist? Think about that. Think about that, Jay. That's a serious question. Like, if you say something against someone of color, the first thing they go to is, well, you're racist. That's the only reason you said it. No, but you ate a fucking cat. I mean, you're on camera. You ate a cat. You know, well, that's racist. The first thing they go to these people is who's these people, bigot? You know, I mean,
with
seriously.
a number of Haitian clients. Break down for me just how devastating all of this is about to be.
Very devastating, and I hope we stop talking about it as the Trump administration won or someone won, because right now America lost. There are going to be a lot of jobs that are open and a lot of people in home health care industries that are not going to receive any service because their providers are going to be removed from the United States. There are a lot of people who are going to die and suffer because of the account of this. So I wish this court was more of a court of equity than they say they were a court of policy right now. So a
court of equity, in other words, well, we want the Supreme Court to rule in our favor because we're people of color.
The chair of the Haitian Bridge Alliance, which is the United States organization that represents these Haitians before the Supreme Court. And we have made the argument that not just his comments, but also in the writings and just recently, even the discovered emails from Kristi Noem about the clear conversations they've made about Haitians and Black immigrants in general, when you even look at the refugee policy. And this court has said, even with that information, there's nothing for us to do here, which seems to be extremely problematic along party lines. And today you've seen something that I haven't seen in the Supreme Court in a very long time, is that you've seen the justice sort of read dissents that are 35 pages from the bar. So even in the Supreme Court, you see not the harmony that generally exists there in peaceful dissent in saying that this is outside the norm. And because it is outside the norm, because it isn't about just policy and procedure, this is about people.
No, it's about the law, dumbass. You don't know what the word temporary means.
Human engagement. And the concept that people keep saying that the problem is that it's temporary status and it's been longer than temporary. Well, change the word. Don't put people's lives in danger.
Okay, so you're putting someone's life in danger by saying you've been here since 2011 on a temporary protective status order. That's just nuts.
Because you feel that arbitrarily moves something. And as stated before, there are a million so classes of TPS individuals who are here legally working. So they're authorized, they've been vetted. There's none of the concerns that you have with people who may come in undocumented.
It doesn't matter. They don't belong here. I want to know, out of these TPS people, how many of them ask, like, hey, can I apply for citizenship? How much does that cost? I want to get a real job. Like, think about it.
As well as they're supporting our economy. And when you remove...
I love when they're supporting our economy. Who gives a shit? They're here temporary since 2011. They got to go.
Those individuals, you draw down all of those...
He said, change the word. Yeah, permanent. protected
area.
status.
So all those jobs they're doing, all of these companies that were relying on these TPS workers.
Yeah, now Americans can get those jobs
to work tomorrow are going to have to make decisions about them leaving today. So this is not a big win that we think we're going to celebrate. And there,
you know what this is, Jade?
Yeah,
Smallest
I do
violin
actually.
in the world saying my heart bleeds purple piss for you.
Yeah. So pop quiz. What's
Sure.
the definition of the word temporary?
Yeah, exactly. Luigi, thank you, sir. We see beer and a shot. Cheers. Thank you, brother. I got to come down again soon. We got to hang. Let me see. Let me get back to this meltdown.
50 million or more Americans in the United States, 1 million TPS holders are not causing some economic burden on the United States.
It doesn't. You see, this is the problem. They don't read the law. They read the emotions. The law says one thing. Their emotions say something else. You have to go with the law, not the emotions. Because, see, this is the problem that the libnuts are having now. They always put, think about it. You could be saying, like you could be saying, well, we have to stop bank robbers because in this town, there's like 3 banks that's just been robbed. We got to come up with some plan to do it. Do it for the children, right? I mean, it's always like an emotional bullshit story that they try to tug at your emotions and get you to go along. It ain't working anymore because real people now, MAGA people, they're all saying like, we've been falling for this bullshit for years, and look what it got us. Look where it took us. We're not doing it that way anymore, and these guys are losing it. So temporary protective status means temporary. It means you got to go when we tell you got to go. Temporary could mean tomorrow. So I mean, think about it. They're going nuts over something that they're just not going to win on the argument. They're not going to win. No, they're not. Let me see. Next one. Oh, this guy. Got to play this. This is good. This is from Not the Bee. It's not the Babylon. I say this every time. It's not the Babylon Bee. It's the same guys, but this is a real story. Okay, so this is the most, pay attention, guys. This is really good. This is the most honest political video you'll watch this year, and he genuinely means it, and so do I. So this guy, when Charlie Kirk was murdered, he was one of those libnuts on video who said, good, he got it, and now watch him. Let me go over to X so you can watch him here. Hello, X. Okay.
I'm actually glad that Charlie Kirk was murdered, but
there you go. Watch.
Probably not for the reason you think. I was at work when I first found out.
Watch.
A fellow employee had wandered up to me, cell phone in hand, and asked, "Did you hear that Charlie Kirk just got assassinated?" And I, without even a moment's hesitation, responded, "Good! Fuck that Nazi white supremacist piece of shit!" I had never before witnessed such a perfectly blended expression of disgust, disappointment, sadness, and surprise, all through the window of another man's eyes, or experienced a silence so uncomfortable as the one that followed. And although that look on his face now haunts me more and more with each passing day, at the time, it only made me distrustful and upset. But little did I know that the sentence which followed would end up becoming the most profoundly psychologically impactful question that I've ever been confronted with. Have you ever actually watched any of his debates? I decided to end the conversation immediately. This man was clearly a lost cause, one of those intellectually dishonest Kool-Aid drinking types who refuses to engage in good faith with any perspective which contradicts their outstandingly narrow and propagandized worldview. And by this man, I mean me, because I hadn't actually watched any of his debates.
Right.
I was basing literally every single thing I believe about a human being with thousands of hours worth of publicly available recordings of himself openly expressing his opinions on a small handful of out-of-context clips that had been curated for me by algorithms and media organizations being funded by the political opposition.
Right.
I foamed at the mouth, right along with the rest of those rabid and bloodthirsty.
I'm gonna tell you something. That was oh God, now I forget his name. Brandon Strzok. That was his revelation. Brandon Strzok believed all the libnut stuff, and a girlfriend of his, a friend of his that was a girl, she sent him a video and said, "I know you hate Trump. Please watch this, please." And it was basically the video that proved that remember the rumor went around that he mocked a disabled journalist. Well, he never even knew the guy. He was going, right? And he didn't know the guy was disabled, right? But the video showed he did it to Jeb Bush. He did it to Ted Cruz. He did it to Democrat. It was just his way of saying when somebody gets all flustered when you ask them, they're like, they can't answer the question. And he thought, Brandon told me on the phone, he said, and I thought to myself, man, if they lied about that. What else did they lie? So I go on YouTube, and he goes, and you know, when you watch on YouTube something, then you have an entire list of things next to you that's kind of the same genre, same political idea. He goes, I spent 3 days watching videos, and I learned that I was a lifelong Democrat, and my entire life they lied to me about every single issue that came up. And that's when he created the Walkaway campaign.
Dogs, gleefully mocking those who had been saddened by his death and downplaying the atrocity of it all by suggesting that political violence is just an unfortunate yet necessary step toward our coveted socialist revolution. That is, until I began to notice a common thread. The exact same comment being repeated ad nauseum in nearly every single online space. Have you ever actually watched any of his debates?
Right.
I didn't think much of it at first. Of course, right-wingers are all regurgitating the exact same talking point. They're in a cult. They're brainwashed.
Yep, we are.
It was an ordinary and boring morning on the day I found out that I am a monster. In that moment where my curiosity got the best of me and I decided to click on some random YouTube thumbnail of Charlie Kirk with his goofy and gummy smile in an attempt to reaffirm my preconceived biases. And it was an unusually stressful afternoon on that very same day when I spoke to my father for the first time in years, despite the fact that he had always loved and supported me unconditionally. And it was a never-ending sleepless night, coming to terms with the fact that literally every single thing I thought I hated about the right, the bigotry, stupidity, violence, vitriol, and narrow-mindedness was actually just an outward projection of hatred toward my own self. Charlie Kirk is my hero.
Wow.
He opened my eyes to the cruel and manipulative nature of our political media, brought my family back together, and taught me how to love again. And to anyone who takes issue or offense with that, I'm going to do exactly what he would have done and challenge you to answer a simple, honest, and straightforward question. Have you ever actually watched any of his debates?
No, they didn't. What they watched, that was great, wasn't it?
That was interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? You can also, like, if you go to walkawaycampaign.com, you can go there, and his big thing was, if you walked away from the Democratic Party, right? Did you ever see his walkaway, the video that made him famous?
I don't think so.
Oh, let's play it. Honest to goodness, guys, you're going to want to see this. It's really well done. This is when he found out. Let's see. Brandon Strzok, walk away. I'm going to get the original. There it is. I'm going to bring this up. Okay. This is really well. And he's a photographer, right? That's what he did for a living before he became a influencer. And he was really good friends with David Harris Jr. That's how I met him, through David, because I used to write for David. But what's called? He just went out and made a video. First time he ever made a video. And that's what he did. So let me get this. Where the hell is it? There it is. Okay. I'm going to bring this up. This is really well done, I thought. He did a really good job. So where is it? There it is. Walk away. Okay, here we go.
Once upon a time, I was a liberal. Well, to be honest, less than a year ago, I was still a liberal. I became a liberal because I felt I'd found a tribe whose values aligned with my own. I staunchly reject racism of any kind. I reject the marginalization of any human being based off of their gender or sexual orientation. I reject tyrannical groupthink. I reject a system which allows an ambitious, misinformed, and dogmatic mob to suppress free speech, create false narratives, and apathetically steamroll over the truth. I reject the acceptance of junk science and superstition to advance ideological agendas. I reject hate. These are the reasons why I became a liberal. And these are the same reasons why I am now walking away. For years now, I have watched as the left has devolved into intolerant, inflexible, illogical, hateful, misguided, ill-informed, un-American, hypocritical, menacing, callous, ignorant, narrow-minded, and at times, blatantly fascistic behavior and rhetoric. Liberalism has been co-opted and absorbed by the very characteristics it claims to fight against. For years now, I've watched as people on the left have become anesthetized to their own prejudices and bigotry, and the prejudices and bigotry of those around them who echo their values. I have watched as formerly sensible people who claim to reject racism have come to embrace the principles of universally hating and blaming all of society's problems on all people who have white skin. I have witnessed the irony of advocacy for gender equality morph into blatant hatred and intolerance of men and masculinity. I have seen the once earnest fight for equality for the LGBT community mutate into an illogical demonization of heteronormativity and the push to vilify and attack our conventional concepts of gender. These same self-proclaimed victims of intolerance now turning on the gay community that they attached themselves to advance their agenda, now calling gay people privileged and themselves victims of injustice. I have watched as the left has allowed themselves to become hypnotized by false narratives and conclusions perpetuated by social justice warriors who misrepresent and misconstrue facts, evidence, and events to confirm their own biases that everyone who does not comply with their prejudicial conclusions and follow their orders is a racist, a bigot, a Nazi, a white supremacist, homophobic, Islamophobic, xenophobic, misogynistic, and alt-right extremist. And I have watched as they've used these heartless and carelessly assigned labels to intimidate, threaten, bully, silence, attack, unemploy, blacklist, and destroy anybody who dares to fight back. They'll come for me, and then they'll come for you.
That's right.
And worst of all, the Democratic Party and the liberal media has embraced, affirmed, aided, and abetted this cult ideology. In an effort to gain voters and maintain power, the Democratic Party that I once loved has joined forces with the extremist left. The Democratic Party and the liberal media now believe their own ill-gotten conclusions and have ominously decided that they, and only they, know the remedy for society's ills. The left has decided that the solution to problems with race relations in America is more racism. The left believes that attacking, insulting, and dehumanizing one group of people elevates another. The left now believes that there are no boundaries when telling lies, omitting the truth, or misrepresenting facts when telling the news, because their end justifies their means. The left has now decided that its point of view is the only acceptable one, and that suppressing, censoring, and banning open dialogue and debate is virtuous and progressive. The Democratic Party has adopted a deleterious belief system happily and without skepticism, separating people into groups based off of identity and then organizing them into camps of victims and oppressors. If you are a person of color, an LGBT person, a woman, or an American immigrant, the Democratic Party wants you to know that you are a victim and destined to stay that way. They will insist that you are a victim doomed to exist within a system that is rigged against you, that you are a victim of systemic oppression, that you are a victim of your circumstances, and that no amount of hard work or motivational action will ever allow you to overcome your victimhood or the privilege of those around you.
They believe.
This is perhaps the Democratic Party's greatest and most insidious lie.
Yep.
But if you are a minority in America today, the left-wing politicians and the liberal media don't want you to ever discover this lie.
Yep.
So they bombard us with stories designed to reinforce the narrative that you are in danger, that you cannot succeed. They manipulate your fears and concerns by telling you that you are disadvantaged, disempowered, and disposable to everyone except them. They will tell you that you need them. They will tell you that you are only safe under their supervision. They will promise to liberate you from all that chains you. And then they will do absolutely nothing for you.
That's right.
Once upon a time, I was a liberal. But liberalism has changed, and I will no longer be a part of an ideology or political party that represents everything that contradicts my values of unity, equal opportunity, personal empowerment, compassion, and love. So I am walking away. And I encourage all of you to do the same. Walk away.
Exactly. Isn't that great?
You know, I feel the sentiment completely because, you know, I'm kind of a live and let live person. I would have described myself as a classical liberal in the past.
Right.
But classical liberal means I get to speak, you get to speak.
Right. Everybody gets to speak. You can't stop anybody else's
kind
right.
of thing, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, the first person I saw to describe it in figures was Elon Musk. You know, he had that drawing where he was in the center and he was actually just a little bit left of center. And then the next frame was the left running that way, and now he was in the middle of the red,
Right. Right.
So, yeah, it's very interesting. I don't know. I don't feel victimized.
Yeah.
And
Well,
last I checked, my driver's license said female.
Yeah, here's another one. Joy Behar. Oh.
There's one here about somebody who got burned in Colorado.
Yeah. We'll get to that one. Here's Joy.
Yeah,
Joy Behar defends the socialist uprising, claims first responders are democratic socialism. We hear this shit all the time. Let's hear her.
I'm not scared of the term. I think they're scared of the term in this country. But Social Security is a democratic socialism.
No, it isn't.
Partly unemployment insurance is.
No,
the people who pick up your
so far
garbage.
Right? So far, all three things she mentioned, you pay for that. That's not democratic socialism.
The people who take the fire out at your house. All of these things are democratic socialism. And there's a major reaction
but then she gave her the look.
formation going on right now.
Yeah. What a loser. Yeah, they all think that services that you pay for in the government, which I don't like, but you pay with your taxes every year, every paycheck, right? For years, every time you work, that's democratic socialism. It's not democratic socialism. Democratic socialism is socialism. If you got the 20th century's greatest communist dictators in a room, they would all admit, wow, socialism is socialism is socialism. It's the same thing. All the different flavors. We didn't do it right. Well, no, actually, you did do it right. And that's why things got really screwed up.
Yeah. But we're going to do it right this time.
Oh, we'll get it right this time. Oh, yeah. So let's see. What's next?
Socialism is great until you run out of other people's money.
Yeah, that was
How
Maggie.
evil are they? Student group
Do you think
celebrates
will drop the
terrorists.
bomb? There we go. Byron Donalds, what he says about the Senate, because they won't pass the Save America Act. Here we go.
I like Byron Donalds.
Yeah, I do too. It's low. There's nothing I can do.
Nothing's moving.
I know. Well, it's playing. Oh, I'm sorry. Share this tab. Yeah, it's very low, so you won't be able to hear it much.
The Senate sucks. I'm just gonna come out and say it. They suck.
They do.
It's not hard. 80% of the American people want the Save America Act to pass. Not 80% of Republicans, 80% of the American people.
Well, Thune already said that there are too many rhino senators. He didn't use the word rhino. There are too many rhino senators that hate Trump so much that they won't vote for it just to piss him off. That's what they said.
And the only organization that refused to act is the United States Senate. Everybody else is saying this is common sense.
Yeah, we need it.
Common sense things. Let's make sure only Americans are voting in our elections.
But see, guys, it's not just that. It's not just the illegals, because and this is the part. The administration has to know this. Okay, it's not illegals that they're stopping. It's Democratic operatives who are voting in the place of people who died and people who moved out of the state. I've explained the spigot system multiple times on this channel, and that's what they're doing. If you and they're still lying, saying, "Well, they want you to bring ID every time you want to vote. You got to bring your birth certificate." Bullshit. It's when you have to register to vote. So what do I go to? Well, if you move to a new county or another state, you have to register to vote, right? If you're already registered to vote, you're never going to leave your state or your county. You're fine. Just go and vote. Nothing changes. Nothing.
Hey, Louis says hit the CC button. Does this have closed captions?
No.
I thought I saw a CC button.
Yeah, there is, but I'm not seeing. Why? You can't hear? Is that what it is?
Well, I turned the volume up so I can hear,
Okay.
but apparently it's very low for people.
Okay. Here you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Right? Let's protect the franchise of the American.
We could start over. Let's do it.
The Senate sucks. I'm just gonna come out and say it. They suck.
Yeah, it's as loud as I can get it.
80% of the American people want the Save America Act to pass. Not 80% of Republicans, 80% of the American people. And the only organization that refused to act is the United States Senate. Everybody else is saying this is common sense. We should do common sense things. Let's make sure only Americans are voting in our elections. Makes sense, right? Let's protect the franchise of the American people. Let's make sure that people who are sent to Washington are being voted on by Americans. Who the American people choose is up to them, but we have a responsibility to secure that franchise and to secure that process for the American people. And what is happening in the U.S. Senate is laziness, and quite frankly, it's disgusting. What? The Senate Democrats don't want to have voter ID in America. Why? Because they want to maintain their power. Senate Republicans don't want to do the right thing and actually have a true filibuster on the floor and debate the matter on the floor, because it would take them away from their precious meetings that they have to conduct.
Right.
I'm sorry. They have a responsibility to open up the Senate floor and debate this issue in front of the American people. I agree with Chairman Harris 1,000%. I want to hear what Chuck Schumer has to say on the floor in full debate about why he opposes this measure. I want to hear what Elizabeth Warren has to say about why.
Well, they're going to say because it's racist, but they won't debate him on that.
She would oppose this measure. I want her to tell the people of Massachusetts why she believes that the people of Massachusetts should not have to show a photo ID in order to vote in a federal election in the United States of America. Just the other day, President Obama opened up his presidential library.
Yeah, I'm so racist, I'd vote twice for this guy.
Yeah. Well, I think he's going to be the next governor of Florida.
I think that's pretty clear. That's presidential material right there.
Yeah. I think, I told him to his face, you're going to run some down. I'm going to vote for you. As I was shaking his hand.
Yeah, I'd vote for him twice. I'd vote for him twice, but I think only Democrats can do that.
Yeah. Let's see what else we got.
Oh, yeah, that one about Colorado.
Oh, yeah. How evil are they? Yeah.
Yeah, I think I may have missed that story.
Yeah, here we go. Yeah, this is good. So it's how evil are they? Student group celebrates terrorist who burned a woman alive in Colorado. He writes, who is it? That's right, David Strom, who I don't really like, but okay. In my last post, I pointed to the narrative framing that fosters hatred for Jews in Israel. In this, I want to point to just how deranged the American anti-Israel left has become. It's going to go over well. You may or may not recall the Pearl Street firebombing in Boulder, Colorado that happened a year ago. A pro-Hamas terrorist threw Molotov cocktails and used a flamethrower to kill as many Jews as possible at a weekly gathering in support of Israel. He killed one 82-year-old woman and injured 13 others. It came and went in the news. After all, it didn't fit the narrative. Still, the people of Boulder couldn't ignore it, of course. It's a gorgeous, peaceful, and modest-sized university community, and crazed Egyptian illegal alien terrorists are still a rarity, and burning people to death is a pretty gruesome thing to happen on your streets. The attack was well-planned, well-executed, and the terrorist expressed no regrets. He pled guilty to all the state charges and is sentenced to life in prison and still faces a federal hate crime charge for obvious reasons. The Trump administration tried to deport his family, but of course the activists swung into action and convinced a judge to stop it. Go figure. Excuse me. The man who committed this atrocity made no bones about his motive. He said he wanted to kill all Zionist people. He is a true radical Islamic terrorist. Is that him? That can't be him. So let's see. Just the kind of guy who Students for Justice in Palestine loves, and they are quite open to saying so in no uncertain terms. I don't want to read all that. SJP is a recognized organization that gets student fees at some colleges and universities, and it has been banned at others. The University of Colorado in Boulder is one of those, and the regents rightfully condemned the statement and the group. Not so much for the pro-Hamas left, which includes SJP in its coalition. Usually, when the media covers anti-Israel activists, they gloss over the fact that they are a bunch of commie Islamic revolutionaries. They are activists. They are pro-terror groups. They aren't activists. They're pro-terror groups. As with Antifa, when they get coverage, they also get cover. When the federal government successfully prosecuted the Antifa terrorists in Texas who shot at and hit one police officer in an anti-ICE attack, Most of the media called them protesters, not terrorists, as if they were holding signs, not using guns to kill people. Same with SJP and their allies who support terrorism.
Peaceful protesters.
Yeah, I don't want to read that. Yeah, this is how they think. This is who they are. Not activists. They are violent revolutionaries. They should be called that. You can't fight what you can't name. When evil walks the world, we must reject it. When a man firebombs innocent people with the intent to kill as many as possible, that is evil. Plus, they were Americans. When people rally around him and call him a hero, they are evil too. And lest you forget, the DSA, Democratic Socialists of America, and Zohran Mamdani have long-standing ties with SJP. This is who they are. Yeah. It's interesting.
Yeah, I remember man on the street type of interviews after the October 7th. And there was a bunch of people who said very similar. And this woman comes up and says, anything they do is justified.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's how they feel.
Do, yeah. Okay. By extension, then anything the Israelis do is justified too, right? You can't have it. Can't have it both ways.
Right. Now let's go for the DSA right here. So DSA stands for free stuff, less work, and no cops. The way life should be. Okay. What does DSA stand for? The New York Times has a primer on that. Not surprisingly, most of it is all about free stuff DSA members think the government should pay for. Under their platform, childcare, pre-K, and public higher education amount to a collective good and should be completely free and funded by the government. This is what the problem is. The government doesn't have a single dime of its own money. Everything that the government spends, they have to confiscate from you, from your labor in every country. So how can they say, oh, it should be completely free and funded by the government? In other words, translate that. It should be completely free for us and funded by you, who's not going to use the program. They also support universal rent control. Did you hear about that? The rent control that they just put on New York City? We'll get to that one. They also support universal rent control and want every worker to receive paid family leave. All of that would be exceedingly expensive. Just the free childcare part has been estimated $140 billion per year. The free pre-K would be $35 to $75 billion per year. Free college would be somewhere between $38 and $75 billion per year. Paid family leave between $25 and $50 billion per year. At a minimum, that comes to around $225 billion per year. But we're not done spending money yet. Democratic Socialists believe in raising the minimum wage and instituting a 32-hour work week with no reduction in pay or benefits. Are you kidding me? The 32-hour work week wouldn't be a cost to the government, but it would to every business in the country, which would mean payroll would need to jump by more than 20%. So you know what's going to happen? They're going to get rid of people. And the people that stay are going to have to work 2 jobs, like for the other person as well. Those costs would, of course, be passed all through higher prices. But these expenses would be dwarfed by another freebie on the DSA list. The DSA wants to create guys, the reason I'm reading this is because these are the people that won in New York recently. All those races in New York, the commies. This is the group that got behind them all and threw money at them. And so if the Democrats get in charge again, this is the stuff that they're going to do. The DSA wants to create a single government-run national program providing essential health care for everyone because it works so well everywhere else. Many Democratic Socialists want to see private insurance entirely eliminated. Of course. Bigot. Others are open to giving the option to keep their private insurance plans. No, they're not. They're fucking liars. They're telling you that so that you pass the bill. And then they go, oh, by the way, yeah, we didn't really mean that. We're going to cut out. Because that's what Obamacare was doing. Obamacare had a choking thing where they said that at some point, I think it was like 18 months in, that you would not be able, if you left your private insurance, you had to go on Obamacare. So if you got a new job and you had to give up your insurance from your old job and you got the new job, they could not put you on their insurance. You had to go to Obamacare. So what would that do? That means that the people, like, your premiums are as high as they're figured out by how many people are in the program that you're in. All right. And so if you have more and more people that are whittling away because nobody can join, can't bring in new customers. That's what the Obamacare originally did. Okay. And so what would happen is eventually you get to a point where your premiums are so high, you go, fuck it, I'm just going on Obamacare. Right. And it would have eliminated that was the cruel joke that they played on with the lies. If you want to keep her daughter, you can. You want to keep her health care, you can do it. You know, Michael, get over here with that cock. I mean, think about it. That's how they lied to you the whole time. And yet, when you read it out loud, that's not in there. It was. In short, single payer for Medicare for all. How much would single payer cost? Somewhere between $3.2 and $4.4 trillion per year. Where's all this money going to come from? You. There is no consensus about how much such a system would cost the federal government, nor exactly how it would be funded. Proponents of democratic socialism say that higher income taxes on wealthy Americans and decreases in military spending would cover the cost. Sure it would. This is, of course, a lie. Elon Musk is a trillionaire now. Seizing all of his wealth wouldn't cover 1 year of Medicare for all. Imagine that, guys? All of his wealth. Seizing all the wealth of all the billionaires would, at best, cover a little over 2.5 years of M4A, Medicare for all. Whose wealth would you seize after that to keep going? Because if you're going to take all the wealth of a billionaire, do you think they're going to make $1 billion every year in the United States? No. It's only going to happen to them once, and then they're out. As for the defense budget, it's just over $1 trillion per year. If you were to cut to zero, it would only cover 4 months of Medicare for all. Can you imagine this? And Medicare for all would suck, right? Just like every single payer system sucks. And of course, we'd have no military at all, but that's probably fine with the DSA because they also want to empty the jails and zero out police budgets as well. These people would have you live in a hellhole. Seriously, in a hell. The organization wants to defund the police by rejecting any expansion to police budgets and calls for freedom for all the incarcerated people. They're just out of their fucking minds. Members believe that improving quality of life and investing in public services would address the root causes of violence. In short, these are idiots living in a fantasy world where they can seize wealth to pay for programs we can't afford, and they can solve crime by eliminating the police and the prisons. It's pretty astounding that people are actually voting for people who have adopted these views. Sooner or later, the bill will come due. Exactly.
I ever tell you I had a guy in my office. He was a really, really nice guy. I enjoyed talking to him. He's a socialist, and he was talking about specifically at this moment universal basic income. And he was saying, didn't I think that was, a great thing because I could be in my office and I could practice. I wouldn't have to worry about making the money. I'd be able to do what I like. And so I asked him, but if I'm going to get that anyway, why am I coming in here to do the work? If I'm
right,
why am I?
Why would I do it?
If I'm getting paid anyway? What's and he was. Yeah, he's saying, wow, I'd really like to sit down and talk to you about this further. We never did. We never did. He had to go, and but I can't understand why somebody thinks that universal basic income is the solution to everything. Oh, you're going to be so happy. You're going to do your work.
Yeah.
Why am I going to do the work?
I was in a Facebook. Well, I came across a Facebook group one time, and it was a bunch of liberals years ago, and they were talking about a singularity, right? AI, how it would take over everything. And so their big concern was, okay, so how does the government divvy out a basic income to everybody when nobody can get a job? And I'm like, what makes you think if you're not working, you're not owed anything? What makes you think you're going to get something for that? And they kicked me out of the group.
Yeah. How about this
one? Did you see that library? Did you see that? Does it not look like the Death Star in Star Wars? That thing, Obama's library.
Yeah, I don't know. If
Holy cow!
I don't know if it's the ugliest building I've ever seen, but it's certainly up there in the ugly scale.
Oh, it is very ugly. Yes.
How about this one? Detention on the bench. I really want to hear about Alito and Sotomayor.
Detention on the bench. Hold on. Detention. It's not coming
Tension
up.
on the bench.
Oh, tension. I thought you said detention. All right.
Tension.
Tension on the bench. Yeah, there we go. Let's do that.
Because
All right,
Alito is brilliant. Let's just.
Oh yeah,
start
yeah. I
there.
love him. I love him. Yeah, he's another Scalia. He's up to that level. And so, believe it or not, but he's not as vocal. So is Clarence Thomas. Tension on the bench. Justice Alito is none too pleased with Sotomayor's bitter dissent on asylum case. All right. As we reported, Red State, the Supreme Court handed President Donald Trump a major win in an immigration case Thursday, striking down a lower court ruling that had barred the federal government from turning asylum seekers away at the southern border. All right. If you're not, and second of all, international law says you don't get to pick you don't get to pick the country that you want to have asylum in. You can't do that. It has to be the next country you come to that is not at war or persecuting you. All right. For most people, that would be either Guatemala or Mexico. Now you come over from Haiti and China and all that. What? You can't. You got to ask for asylum in the next country where you are. That's the law, but liberals don't want you to know that. Okay. So the ruling was 6-3 in the case Mullen v. Al Atrolado, and said that migrants still on Mexican soil have not arrived in the United States and therefore have no statutory right to asylum processing. You see what a wall does, huh?
Is this some sort of brilliant leap of genius? If
I don't know.
In Mexico, they're not in the United States. Whoa. Whoa.
Yeah. I know.
Mind blow.
I know. All right. So you can probably guess which jurists were on the side. Roberts, Thomas, Alito, Gorsuch, Kavanaugh, and Barrett were on the majority, while Sotomayor, Kagan, and Jackson were on the losing team. They always are.
Surprise.
Yeah. And so it wasn't a warm and fuzzy day in the courtroom, though, as things got tense between Justice Samuel Alito, who wrote the majority opinion, and Justice Sonia Sotomayor, who wrote the long and angry dissent. She insisted she read it out loud, which isn't a first, but is considered unusual for a dissent. Alito reportedly appeared to be annoyed as she droned on. Alito first briefly read the majority's position. As Sotomayor read her dissenting opinion from the bench, taking more time than her colleague, Alito leaned back in his chair and rolled back and forth, staring at the ceiling and at times appearing to close his eyes. When Sotomayor criticized the majority opinion as egregiously wrong, Alito leaned forward in his chair, propped his chin in his hands, and stared up at the ceiling. When Sotomayor commented about the majority opinion's reference to the language of arrival in the context of immigration and used the example of landing at Reagan National Airport, Alito briefly set his gaze on Sotomayor. Sotomayor read from her 39 pages of angry rhetoric as the other judges either stared impassively or read their notes. Over roughly 10 minutes, Sotomayor invoked the 1939 voyage of more than 900 Jewish refugees turned away from Cuba and the United States, most of whom later perished in the Holocaust, and tied that history to international peace treaties protecting people fleeing persecution. But these people are not fleeing. She argued the ruling betrayed that legacy and detailed the violence and extortion facing migrants stranded near the border. Justice Alito Kagan and Ketanji Brown Jackson joined her. How about that?
Of course.
They did. Because the last time they did not join Ketanji Brown Jackson because she's completely nuts.
What does being in Mexico have to do with being a boat full of Jews that got turned away? I mean,
well, she's talking about the spirit of we can't turn people away who are in trouble. But in other words, she's trying to conflate that with people that just want to come here for the goodies.
Yeah, but they're not in trouble.
Right, exactly. That's the
They're
point.
Sitting in Mexico. That's the difference.
Yeah. We often read about the collegiality of the court and how they manage to stay friendly despite sharply different outlooks. But I wouldn't be at all surprised that Alito and Brett Kavanaugh doesn't actually care for Sotomayor all that much. They clap back at his colleague in a rare rebuke. Then Justice Alito, who's going to read another opinion, he stops and says, if I had known that the dissent was going to deliver that opinion from the bench, I would have said more. I would have said more about why we ruled the way we did. So it was very bitter response to what we had just heard. So let's see. It can't be easy working alongside colleagues you fundamentally disagree with on virtually everything regarding law, order, and life. I bet Alito is looking forward to the upcoming recess at the end of June. I bet too. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
and
like
just
he's in
to-
his 70s, and I hope he doesn't leave anytime soon.
Yeah, just to concur with what you said earlier,
Right.
Alito and Thomas. Oh
Right.
boy.
Oh yeah, they're great. Oh yeah, they are great.
They're the best ever.
Right.
Yeah, I remember I saw a meme that said if conservatives are so racist, how come they would like to have a Supreme Court like this? And it showed nine pictures of Clarence Thomas.
Yeah. Hey, what's up, Special K? Good to see you, man. Let's see. Yeah, keep the tension on. Yeah. All right, next one. Let's get to a video. Let's see what we got here. Let's see what we got here. Gotta scroll all the way up. We got like 50 stories down below. The intelligence community is ground zero for erosion of liberty. Okay, a fair rate gang. Gutfeld had the sharpest take. Yeah, here we go. So let's see if this is okay. Watch on X. Let's bring it up to X. That way I can control it.
Oh, do you want to show Gutfeld? He's
That's what I'm doing. That's the one I'm doing.
That's
right
the
now.
one you're doing. Okay.
Yeah. Here we go. So this is about the socialists in New York City. What do you say?
The saddest reaction is that in that montage, we heard Democrats more worried about the politics than the reality. You know, they're worried, what will Republicans do with this? Instead of what could happen to America if this spreads. That's the thing you should be thinking about since you let it happen. We normies are burdened with this radical phenomenon like every 10, 15 years. Usually we have to wait it out until some of the younger people grow out of it when they see that their beliefs are tethered to failure, that there's no measure of achievement or improvement associated with socialism. But as one socialist grows out of it, immediately another one grows into it, straight from the campus to Congress. It sucks. The left owns the soft power, which is the media, the schools, and the arts. So it's like Doritos. You know, we crush them, they make more of them, and it's because they just romance radicalism, and it's always going to be there. So how do you respond to this? Do you scream it's the end of America like they do when they talk about Trump, the end of democracy? I think it makes them seem more interesting and powerful and dangerous than they really are. Look at Hassan Piker. He'd still be a nobody if we treated him that way. The problem is it only takes a few elites to create a revolution. There were like 20,000 plus Bolsheviks that ushered in communism and killed millions of people in Russia, later the Soviet Union. But having said that, it is really chilling how emboldened they are.
Yeah.
They're not hiding this behind helping the poor.
Right.
They're just saying we want power. These are wolves in wolves' clothing. And it's you know, you want to be careful not to amplify it, but you also don't want to discount it because that's what the Dems did. The Dems saw them as just other Democrats. They thought it was nonsense and it wouldn't get anywhere. They'll fall into line just like Bernie did. But they're not. We can't discount it because we're the makers. We're not the takers. If you lose us, the whole thing goes to hell. Lastly, what's really frustrating about socialism is that whenever it comes up, you feel compelled to have to explain it, the horrific outcomes to the young people, the way it kills human progress and initiative.
Yeah.
But I keep thinking to myself, who am I explaining it to? Like, it's almost like we're trying to export democracy to a third world hellhole like Somalia, but it's not. It's the United States. It's here. I'm trying to convince people that are here. And it's not third world. It's white elite intelligentsia, the 7%, who, as history has shown, they will call you fascist, but then when they get into power, oh man, are they bloodthirsty?
Yeah.
Because the whole point of this, it's not to get power to help the country. They say they hate the country.
Mm-hmm.
It's power to overturn the country and punish the people they hate. They haven't thought ahead of what to do next. If you want evidence of that, look at all the bloody revolution.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. They hate America. They've always hated America. Socialism is not properly defined in most people's. Exactly. Socialism leads to poverty. It just does. It always does. Well, we didn't do it right. No, you did it exactly right. That's why it leads to poverty.
How about for a lighter one, Ken Paxton's new ad against James Tallarico?
Oh yeah, that's great. So let me play. All right, this was.
That's got to be good. I haven't seen it.
Well, hold on. In a video that I did, what was it, yesterday? I think it was. Hold on, when was it? Yeah, it was yesterday. It was just yesterday's video. I play the campaign ad, the first one that Tallarico put out. James Tallarico is the progressive Democrat in Texas who's trying to take John Cornyn's seat. John Cornyn lost his primary. Ken Paxton, who was the attorney general, who people like there, the rhinos tried to take his ass out, which tells you everything you need to know. And they tried an impeachment thing, and he won. All right, because the people in Texas are not stupid, and he's very pro MAGA and America First and all that, right? So Tallarico, who's the guy that says that there's 6 genders and all that crap. So he puts this campaign ad out. It was 7 figures, and I'm only going to play the part of the campaign, so don't worry about it. But in my video, I point out how he just lied throughout everything. So I will play this, and then we'll play Paxton's response because it's great. Okay, so here we go. So James Tallarico, the progressive Texas Democrat running for the U.S. Senate, just dropped his first big ad of the general election. We're talking 7 figures, every major Texas market. And the centerpiece of the whole thing is affordability. Tallarico wants you to believe he's the guy who reached across the aisle and brought both parties together to lower your taxes while serving in the Texas House. Give this a watch.
Many Texans feel like they're drowning. The cost of groceries, gas, healthcare. I'm James Tallarico. In the State House, I brought both parties together to make life more affordable, capping the cost of insulin, cutting taxes for small businesses, and passing the largest property tax cut in Texas history. In the Senate, I'll take on corruption and keep fighting to lower your costs. I approve this message because it shouldn't be this hard to keep your head above water.
All right, guys. So that's enough of that. So the truth of that is he voted against the tax cut bill, right? He didn't reach across the other aisle and brought them both together so he could pass the largest working families tax cut. And it was historical. Okay. He voted against it. He voted against another tax proposal as well. All right. The guy's everything that he said in that video was a lie. He's saying, in other words, he didn't say, well, I didn't vote for it. I reached across the aisle to reach to the others to bring you the best. So in other words, it was the Democrats that had to reach out to Republicans to get. It's all bullshit. And as a matter of fact, he claimed that he co-sponsored it. When in my video, I showed the list of everybody that co-sponsored the bill. His name isn't on it. And then I showed the list of all the votes of everybody for the bill. And he was there and he voted nay. He's the biggest freaking liar. So now let's bring up Paxton's. Let's see, Paxton, where is it? There it is. So this is good. It's his first response, one of many, I'm hoping. All right, here we go. And I'm going to come over, go to X. There we go. Here it comes. This is great. Okay, so here we go.
James Tallarico is a hypocrite when it comes to fighting for families. Tallarico wants to teach trans ideology in schools and let boys compete in girls' sports.
Yep.
Tallarico says it's immoral to use the oil and gas that employs millions.
He said that. He said that the economy based on oil from Texas is immoral.
Millions of Texans. Tallarico wants higher taxes and policies that'll raise prices on families. Hypocrite James Tallarico will do anything to push his radical agenda, even if it leaves families broke and jobless.
I'm Ken Paxton, and I approve this message.
Think about it, guys. In 30 seconds, he destroyed everything that idiot just said. Yeah, he sat down and said there are 6. He was in a committee meeting, and he said there are 6 genders. He said that there are many doctors that conclude that there are 6 genders. It's like, are you kidding me? I'll say one thing about the Democrats. They're really good at articulating facts. Yeah. Well, lies.
Lies.
Yeah.
Same thing to the Democrats.
Yeah. Yeah. That's exactly right. Yeah. They're performative truth and all that crap. You know?
We all say so. It must be true.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see. Here we got one about Kamala. This is great. This guy, I like this guy. So let me bring this one over. Let's see. So
the theme of this year's
so it's Don Lemon with Kamala. So let's go.
Administration.
The theme of this year's Austrian World Summit is "We are unstoppable."
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't feel unstoppable right now. They feel exhausted. So as you are there and you're going to be interviewing, right? The governor, are you speaking with him, right?
Yes.
You guys are doing something together. So then what's your case for hope then?
You know, I believe that when we feel powerless, we are powerless. And when we feel powerful, we are powerful. And I believe we are powerful.
It's such word salad still.
And I believe, you know, Don, I really truly believe this. We each have light inside of us. And we need to know that that is what inspires our hope as much as anything external to ourselves.
No, our hope is inspired by also all getting jobs, the price of gas going down, barrel of oil is $71 now. That's our hope.
And when we feel that and not allow an election or an individual to dampen that light, and instead let that light kind of carry us, in particular through moments of darkness, that we not only act on that hope, but we inspire that hope in each other. And in particular at this moment, it is so important that we not only have hope, but that we understand that that should be a verb, which means that hope has to go hand in hand with action.
It looks like he's doing this show in a Motel 6, doesn't it?
And that action includes the overcoming the obstacles they're trying to throw in front of us in terms of access to the ballot. That hope combined with the action will result in us winning the midterms. That hope combined with action will allow us to celebrate Juneteenth in all of the traditions that involve good food and dance and laughter and family and community.
And crazy.
And that we will also
I love this guy's
understand that
responses.
that hope is consistent with a commitment to the fight for equality and for freedom and for.
Where does she not have equality? She ran for vice president of the United States, and then she ran for president. How does she not have equality?
I don't know. Well, she obviously doesn't have equality.
wait.
She didn't get elected president.
Yeah. All right, let's go back. You're right.
Commitment to the fight.
Let's go.
The fight for equality and for freedom and for.
I don't know who thought that it was a great idea to make her the poster child or to even have her run as president of the United States. But to even think that she can get that close. Like,
It's frightening.
I get Obama, right? I get Obama being able to sell and push hope. That was the thing that comes along with really being a great orator. And
Right.
regardless of whether or not we actually think that he did a good job or we did a bad job, or if he ushered in and promoted the alphabet community more and championed them or gave us Obamacare and it was
You know he
exactly
doesn't like
whatever
him.
you think it was, right? We have to agree that Obama was able to sell hope much better than Kamala Harris.
Administration.
Exactly.
The theme.
She's just, I mean, God, my God, she's probably equal with Hillary, because Hillary was not. At least when she speaks, it's all word salad. It's pretty stupid ideas, and it's posturing and all that. But she sounds like she speaks normally. She doesn't speak like this. Well, Hillary, I mean, she talks like she's a news announcer. You know, that's how she talks.
Yeah,
and it's
did
like
you-
so damn phony.
Yeah, did you hear her when she was in the Deep South? She suddenly developed this accent
Well,
Hillary.
both of them did that. Both
Well,
of them.
actually, both of them did that. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
The fuck? Yeah. Yeah, both of them actually did that. I can't believe
Yeah,
that.
can you believe that?
Gnostic Carl's Young teachings. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, she didn't win. That's right.
Yeah, but obviously
Funny
it was
video.
only obviously she doesn't have equity because otherwise she'd be president, you know?
Yeah, she doesn't have equity. Miss Giggles McCackles. Yeah, I referred to her as Heels Up Harris in every story I wrote about her during the election.
Okay, I saw a meme, and it's what's her name, Pocahontas,
Yeah.
and Kamala, and they're sitting together, and the caption is, "Well, you know, we're both Indian," and the response is, "Yeah, lying dog and spread eagle."
Yeah. Well, I used to call her Chief Crazy Bitch.
Yeah.
And I had an editor who said he wrote to me. He goes, "I cannot stop laughing, but we cannot put that headline out."
Yeah, of course.
That was when that was when she first started that crap. But the greatest thing, think about the troll that Trump pulled off. He actually got her. She thinks so high of herself. He got her to take a DNA test.
Yes.
And she was like 1,232% Indian, Native American, right? And he was like, when he's talking about it, he's like, I'm more Native American than she is. Oh my God, it was so funny. That was hilarious. Yeah. Let's see. We got another one. Okay. Yeah, I like this guy, Doc Rich. Let's see. Here we go. Things are getting scary very quick.
So here we are again. If you needed another reason to show up in these midterms and vote America First Republican, well, here you go.
What happened in New York last night should terrify everyone, and here's why. New York held their Democrat primaries, but instead of electing normal Democrats, voters chose their farther left socialist candidate. These guys, all backed by Zohran Mamdani and all America hating. This one, Daria Liza, she recently converted to Islam and said she would use the American flag to wipe if she forgot a napkin. She co-founded a group at Columbia whose stated mission was the total eradication of Western civilization. She's going to Congress. This one, Claire Valdez, ran on granting citizenship and voting rights to illegals using your tax dollars for surgeries and the elimination of private insurance. Communist in Congress. Brad also won, but he's technically Jewish, so he had to pretend not to be and do this to get elected.
Hear this?
Say what? This chick also won a state assembly seat. She's a child of illegals. She once protested carrying a Hamas headband, and she blamed 9/11 on America's racism. And here's why this matters, because we are watching the Democrat socialists, the communists, take over the Democrat Party.
Yep.
And where have we seen this before? Pre-Soviet Russia.
Right.
You had the Bolshevik Communist Party and the Mensheviks, and Vladimir Lenin controlled the Bolsheviks, and he wanted to destroy the Mensheviks or the normie Dems.
Yep.
The gameplay has always been go to a normie blue area, take over, and then replace the normies with radicals. Then claim that your insane minority is the majority. Create a false sense of popularity.
Right.
Pretend that the minority is popular, spread it around to the young people, and get them all talking about it. Lenin did this, and then purged the traditional Mensheviks and took over. Therefore, the minority on paper becomes the majority. For Lenin, the Mensheviks weren't radical enough, and for today's socialists, the Democrats aren't radical enough. Mamdani is today's Lenin. You see clips of him all over social media trying to convince you that this is the new wave, this is where we're headed, and this is fetch. He's wrong. Most people don't want America hating,
Definitely
ally
wrong.
hating, seizing your private property, taxing you out the wazoo, terror-loving, gender-chopping, American flag-wiping candidates. They don't want communists. They want normalcy. Only 10% of New York City voted in this election. Most people stayed home. They don't care. But guess what? Apathy elects crazies. Today it's Congress people. Tomorrow it's the Nazi tattoo guy for Senate.
Right.
And then next year it's AOC for president. And then communists are in charge. Guys, it is time to be more aware of your local elections
Yes.
before it ends up eating you and the entire nation. It got really dark, but that'll be all of America if we don't act fast.
That's right. That was pretty good. Yeah, that's right. Let me get rid of that. We got another one. Oh, here's one. This is John Fitzgerald Kennedy. That's what he calls himself anyway. Junior. It's not him, obviously. On X. So here we go. So it says jihad call issued on U.S. soil. Al-Qaeda chief orders American Muslims to assassinate Trump, VP J.D. Vance, Elon Musk in the video. Al-Qaeda chief. So let's get on. Let's go here. Where's the sound? Okay.
ثم إننا ندعو ومن الآن كإجراء عملي أولي كل مسلم على أرض أمريكا الكافرة المجرمة المتغطرسة سواء أكان من أصول عربية أم أمريكية أو غيرها المهم أن يكون دينه الإسلام ونبيه محمدا عليه الصلاة والسلام والذين بلغ تعدادهم 4.5 مليون مسلما في أمريكا وحدها نقول لهم جميعا الثأر لا تشاوروا أحدا في قتل الأمريكان الكفرة ولتكن همتكم كبيرة وقائمة استهدافاتكم مؤثرة فدونكم عتاة الأرض وأكابر مجرميها فهذا ترامب ونائبه وهذا مستشاره وداعمه ماليا وإداريا وتقنيا إيلون ماسك وهذان وزيرا خارجيته ودفاعه وأهلوهم أجمعين وكل من يمت لساسة البيت الأبيض بصلة أو قرابة. ثم
Yeah, that guy needs to be met with a certain no, I won't say it. Yeah, revenge for what? Exactly.
Maybe
jihad on Elon. What's that?
He needs to get up close and personal with a drone.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. Let's see what else do we got here.
Yeah, what else? Let's see. We got a few more minutes here.
Yeah.
Do you want to
Are
talk
you
about
yawning?
James? Do you want to talk about? Yeah. Okay. Get out of my face. Yeah, I yawned. Okay.
I remember on PACA. He was on. Oh, Chris. Now I can't remember his name. Linda, help me. The guy from Cambodia. Oh, I can't remember. Dangerfield. All right. I'm sorry. Yeah, I just had a mental block, right? He's on Dangerfield. He's on the show. And he yawns. And Dangerfield's like in the middle of like a diatribe. And he goes, "Excuse me, did you just yawn?" And he just went off on him. Packer's like, "No, no." Yeah, it was pretty funny.
Do we want to talk about James Carville?
What's that? Oh, yeah, the Carville one. Yeah.
Carville one?
Yep. That's a good one. There's two Carville ones, which I'm
And the
going to
one
do.
about Dunn sharing a tent with Jew haters. That's got to be good.
Yeah, well, we'll watch the other. We'll do the other one first because it should be. We'll just do that one first, and then we'll get to the other one. Then should be good. So here we go. So how bad is the Democratic Party's civil war? James Carville is calling for this drastic action. So let's go down. He's an old warhorse that they should listen to, but they won't.
Trust no one. If you work in that snake,
We're not going to play the whole
you
thing.
can't say anything. You can't do anything. Trump is
Listen.
addled as his mind is. He knows that he's surrounded by traitors. He knows
No,
he's surrounded by leakers.
No, not this time.
You're talking about Trump first term.
What? Yeah.
Does is going to be leaked to the next person writing the next book.
James' biggest primary this week was New York, and the results were mixed. New York City Mayor Mondami endorsed 3 candidates. They won, but they may complicate the politically existential question of winning in November. Those New York City seats are all safe Democratic seats, but 2 of those candidates are socialist. And one, Dara Lee Chevalier, I think I'm pronouncing that correctly,
Yeah, he is. You're right.
really a problem. She has made despicable comments, calling Obama evil, Biden a rapist, called for defunding the police and ending prisons. The problem here is not that they represent anything, but Republicans are gleeful. Trump and others already are saying this is a Democrat.
All right, that's enough. I wanted to hear James, so we'll go to the other one. Let's see. James Carville, done sharing. Oh, well, we got to put that up.
Yeah, this has got to be good.
He's like, with the Jew haters, right? All right. James Carville, done sharing a tent with Jew haters, except on an actual Nazi tattoo guy that he just endorsed.
Yeah.
So it says here. says, new James Carl. I actually think, well, let's just play it. Let's see.
Mr. Valiant, I'm the New York Times reported, and I have the quote right here. I'll get to it. She is against passed off all her views. She has attacked interracial relationships in the American flag. Lady, I ain't in the same party as you. I'm sorry. I just not. And I actually do think it's time for Democrats to talk the S word, schism. I really do. Everybody's always said, no, we're coalition, we're big tent. And there's just some shit that I can't be in the same with. And we talk about what Madame was 3 for 3 last night in Manhattan. They call it the Commie Corridor. Fine.
Commie Corridor.
Jason Crow's service pack, vote vets, 10 for 11. You wouldn't know Jason Crow exists. Okay,
No, you wouldn't.
You wouldn't know it. You wouldn't know Abel Sandberg exists. You wouldn't know. I want to be very specific. I understand the free press for being here because if they nominated David Duke or something like that, we'd be the same way. Understand all that. To the extent I understand the Times, because they are the New York Times, so they have to cover. They are the hometown newspaper. But the idea that we must neglect everything else that's going on, all of these other primaries, all the recruits Jason has, all huge, phenomenal successes we've had, and declare that the party is now under the control of the Democratic Socialists of New York City is insane. But
really,
and understand, these people do not like Democrats. Not only are they not Democrats,
right about
they wish Democrats poorly. So I just cannot. Maybe there's a way that you can say to, I guess Madame is the leader of it, is, you insist that, try to insist that the people that run under your banner run as a Democratic Socialist and don't use the Democratic Party as your guideline, and let's negotiate the terms of a schism here. Maybe we can part under some kind of advantageous terms for both of us. But I'm done. I'm not in that fucking political party. I am totally comfortable in a political party that spends time questioning the policies of the government of Israel. In fact, I'm enthusiastic about that. I don't want to be in a political party that denies the right of the state of Israel to exist. That's just not. I just can't do that. I'm sorry. It's just not doable.
They are a.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, James.
That's the first time I've ever heard him talk that I've actually agreed with a few of his points.
Right. I got 2 more. I'm going to play a video and I'm going to read a story. Let's play the video first. Hang on. It's another short by the same guy. Yeah, I'm going to play it now. There you go. Woman says the media lied about America.
How many of you reached out after my last video that I had to say this one more time? The media has been lying to you about America, and the World Cup just proved it. For years, European and Canadians have been fed the same narrative. America is dangerous. Americans are ignorant. The culture is shallow. The food will kill you. And people believed it. Why? Because they saw it on the news. They read it online. They never actually went. Then the World Cup came, and millions of people who had never set foot in the US suddenly showed up. And you know what they found? Friendly people, incredible energy, stadiums that blew their minds, hospitality they didn't even expect. Video after video of Europeans and Canadians saying, I had no idea, I was completely wrong, this is nothing like what I was told. And that's exactly the problem. The media doesn't profit from you having a good experience. It profits from fear, division, outrage. A Canadian family having the time of their life in Texas doesn't get clicks, A crime story does. So that's all you ever see. That's all you ever hear. And slowly, without even realizing it, your entire worldwide view gets shaped by people who want you to be afraid. And look, in my opinion, the World Cup didn't just bring football to America. It accidentally broke the most powerful propaganda machine in the world.
Right. I agree 1,000% with her. And let me do you another one. Let me add on to that and pile on to that whole conversation. I think it continues to change the mindsets of people that are too young or too immature or too lazy to do the research for themselves, even within the United States.
Yes.
There are people that have leaned 1,000% one way or 1,000% another way.
That's exactly
and
right.
refuse to have a conversation. And when I say a conversation, that is much different than a debate. A debate is trying to prove somebody else wrong, taking a position and trying to argue that position for victory in the eyes of everybody else that's observing so that you can make yourself look good. A conversation is me taking in what you say, you taking in what I say. And as a person that has been on both sides of the political aisle, meaning that I was raised to be a Democrat,
Right.
and we always voted that way just because we were Black and we were expected to do so. And
Right.
that's what I did all the way up until my 30s. And then I changed my position, maybe not even my 30s, my late 20s. I changed my position and I started getting curious about why we continue to do this when it doesn't align with any of our values.
That's
Why
right.
are we doing this? We are a conservative people. And so once I broke free, I was
Right.
able to look at it from both sides and then objectively
Exactly.
make a decision for myself instead of letting the machine determine for me.
That's exactly right. Let's go to this one.
Yeah, dating isn't so fun anymore. Check this out.
So I went on a date with this nigga.
Oh, I can't play that. Oh, damn. Well,
And while we was on a date, I went to the bathroom before the waitress had came. Because I had to make sure everything was okay or whatever, because I had to use the bathroom, stuff like that. I went to the bathroom, and when I came out, I guess the waitress never came. So I'm waiting, and I'm like, he's like, you ready to eat? And I was like, yeah, I'm ready to order. He was like, don't worry, I already ordered for you.
oh boy.
I said, okay, but you didn't know what I wanted. He's like, oh, I know what you like. Trust me on this.
Here we go.
I said, okay. So the food gets there, and he has this beautiful set of 16 all flat lemon pepper hots and some french fries. And I was sitting there waiting for my food to come. He said, just wait, it's coming. So I'm looking at him eat, and I'm like, okay, can I get a fry? He was like, no, your food is coming, just wait. I waited. He finished eating his food. And after he was done, I was like, the waitress never came. He was like, don't worry, they're coming right now. So then he did it like this. He did the sign like this. So when the waitress got there, she brings over the check.
Oh, shit.
And I was like, I didn't do my order. He was like, no, it's fine. They're gonna bring it. Don't worry. And the waitress was looking at him, and I was looking at him. And she was like, what do you want me to do? He was like, don't worry about it. Just go ahead and take the check. So when she brings back his change, he gets up. He's like, are you ready to go? I'm like, I didn't eat anything. He's like, trust me, you've had enough.
Ooh.
Excuse me?
I think she's going to throw another N-word, so I'm not going to plead. We all know how that one ended, right?
Yeah.
All right, here's another one. Bill Maher, who destroys.
We know that Bill Maher is a very left-leaning person. However, he is willing to call out the radical socialists that are taking over the Democrat
Yes.
Party. And that's exactly what we see in this clip with him pointing this out to Ro Khanna in a very uncomfortable way.
Right.
All right, let's get into it.
There's Democrats and there's Democrat socialists. I mean, those are two distinct parts of the same party. I mean, they are obviously in a coalition together. But people who are Democratic socialists make that distinction. They say, I am a Democratic socialist. That's Bernie Sanders. That's Mondami. That's the mayor of Seattle. A number of them.
First of all, we're in a different time than 2020. And many people have seen income inequality soar, these wars that they don't like.
But you aren't a socialist, are you?
Well, I call myself a progressive capitalist, and I call myself for economic patriotism.
Well, Bernie Sanders is 0 for 2 running for president, okay? So it had been tried previously, and it hasn't worked. So the question is, can this play on the road somewhere else, South Carolina, New Hampshire, beyond a big city?
No.
It hasn't.
You can have a majority coalition. FDR did it. He did it 4 terms.
You say the party, the tent is big enough for both the Democrats and the Democratic Socialists. Because can I read you some of the things that are the Democratic and the Democratic Socialist platform?
Sure.
Can I read you the ones that I think are crazy?
Sure. I mean, I may not agree with them either.
Universal health care, no premiums, no copays, no dedeductibles. They tried this in Vermont. They couldn't get it to work.
You can do it nationally.
You got to force it on people.
It has. Taiwan is not a state, Rob.
It's
I hate to
worked,
say it.
it's worked, no, but look, it's worked in Canada. We pay twice as much for healthcare as any
Yes.
other industrial.
Wait. Stop it right there. He said it worked in Canada.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, what he's talking about is we can do it nationally, whether the people want it or not. That's what
Okay.
Obamacare was.
Okay, let me tell you about how it worked in Canada.
Oh, we all know. It
If you
didn't.
want to, if it didn't, because the last year that I paid taxes in Canada, the last full year, I paid 53% income tax.
Right.
That doesn't include any sales tax or excise or anything like that. So if you want free healthcare, be ready to pay a whole lot for it.
Right. There's nothing free about health
outcomes. If you had a single payer, if you just expand Medicare, Moynihan wanted to do this.
Yeah.
If you expand Medicare for everyone and everyone has to pay a little.
You know what I always ask them? Where in the Constitution does it give the federal government the authority to create any healthcare program? Medicare.
Yeah. And if you're talking about Medicare,
Obamacare, all unconstitutional.
I paid off the top of my checks that I ever got. Anything I earned, I paid into government funds that fund that. So now I'm on the other side.
Yeah, but the point is that the federal government does not have the authority to do it, but people haven't given a shit about that in a long time because they're all gimme.
Yep.
They want the government to give them freebies, and who's going to pay for it? I don't care. It's not me. All right.
And
No, it's me. It's you.
This guy is one of the biggest idiots in the
Oh yeah,
Democrat
he
Party.
is. He's
ever.
He's a fucking moron. Yeah.
So why couldn't it work in a state like Vermont?
The reason we don't have it is private health insurance companies spend millions.
I'm confused why it would work nationally when it couldn't work even in
Vermont.
these two states.
And because the states didn't have the waivers to get the money. You need the federal money. You need the Medicare.
Oh, so in other words, let me take this on. So in other words, what he's saying is that it's kind of like a Tesla, right? I mean, I would like to buy one day, but I can't afford it without the incentives, the government money that goes in there, the subsidies, right? So if you have a healthcare system that you want to push, but you got it in the States, you got to get those subsidies. Well, then it's not right for the market, is it?
It's not
any
ready.
product that has to have subsidies for the company to stay alive. They don't deserve to be in the free market.
That's what they do in Canada.
But it's not right. You know, like for example, I keep busting on Tesla, but I think Tesla makes nice cars. For the EV, out of the EV cars, they're the best, I think. And the fact is that so Elon got all those subsidies that Biden tried to take away, right, to help him get the car. Now I understood in the beginning because they wanted people to buy EV cars, right? They wanted to get rid of the gas engine, which would be the dumbest thing that we ever did, right? So they I no longer think people that have Teslas are kooks, right? Because they're good cars, right? They're very technologically advanced. All right, so why should Elon get those kinds of subsidies, but they don't as much as Elon?
Oh, you mean
and why do you give subsidies at all if he can't produce a product that normal average people who want to buy a car can buy it? Then it doesn't belong on the market. There's a disconnect there.
Yeah, Rich, you mean like GM never got government money? That's what GM stands for.
Yeah, but not as much as Tesla.
I don't know about that.
No, I do. It's not as much as Tesla. And they blew it. Like the Volt that Chevy, I think it was a Chevy Volt. That thing never sold anything.
But GM was completely bankrupt. Completely. I think there's a lot more that happened there than maybe most people know.
Yeah. Well, I actually looked into it. But let me play the rest of this, and I got one more.
Money that the states didn't have. And so it's hard to do it on the state without the waivers.
I mean, they've also proposed it here in California, and the budget would have to be like $800 million. It would be like twice or three times what we pay for everything now.
The U.S. Congress is not going to end private healthcare in this country. They're just not. The reality is Medicare works. And if you expanding it is
oh my goodness, Medicare.
the biggest way to lower costs in this country and get everyone covered. You look at what has worked when Johnson created Medicare.
Did you see that edit there?
Envisioned that it would eventually cover everyone.
The left got absolutely destroyed in the last election. Ro Khanna bringing up universal health care after it completely tanked in Vermont is peak leftist delusion.
Oh, yeah, it's
his
delusional.
excuse? Oh, we just need to do it nationally.
Yeah.
Yeah, because making a failed state experiment bigger always works. Canada's system is absolute trash. People are literally waiting years for surgery or getting pushed towards
Yep.
self-elimination.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
hilarious how Kana's answer to everything is just tax
They're
Elon
killing
Musk
people
more.
now to
They
save
ignore
money.
the billions in fraud and waste running rampant in California. And it takes Trump and the actual DOJ to come in and investigate the healthcare grift. Throwing more money at a broken system won't fix it. You absolute clowns. We know.
You absolute clowns.
She's right.
Let's do this one.
Okay. Oh, you want to do one more?
Yeah. This is fun.
No, it's not up. It's not up. It's
Who
not
did
up.
this? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't put it up. I thought I did. I must have hit stop sharing instead. Yeah, I did. I thought I was clicking share this instead. All right. This is funny. I don't know how bored they must be.
Who is Prince Louis?
I have no idea. You guys would know.
Somebody help me out. Who is Prince Louis?
Louis, the Prince of Mischief. He's the Prince of Mischief.
Yeah. I don't know where the country of mischief is either.
I think it's the state of Mischief. And he's the prince.
Nobody knows who Prince Louis is?
I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so. And we got one more. It's
Oh,
Gil.
come on, we're running over. We're running over.
We have to. Okay, we have to show him every week. All right.
What does SNAP stand for?
This is great.
Is a supplemental nutrition assistance program.
What's nutritional about Coca-Cola?
I am not a nutritionist. I am a food security expert in ensuring that individuals have the food resources.
Oh, Lord.
they need.
This is a common sense question. All of these have been common sense questions. I'm just asking you, is there nutritional value to sugary sodas?
No. Look at her.
It's a yes or no question.
I am not an expert. I would have to look at the dietary guidelines.
You're not an
and look at
expert.
everything.
I don't think that there's nutritional value to sugary sodas. I think most people in this room would agree with that assessment. But you have no opinion?
I'm here to talk about the food needs and the hunger crisis that individuals here in America are
Are you
facing.
that ideologically dug in that you want our tax dollars paying for sugary sodas, that you will not, in a straightforward way, admit that sugary sodas are not healthful for the American people?
I think that focusing on soda when people are going hungry.
We spend a lot of our tax dollars are spent on soda. That's why I'm asking about it.
Yeah.
We have
And
no,
you appear to be so ideologically dug in that you won't answer a simple question that's not an appropriate use of our tax dollars, and that does not, in fact, make the American people more healthy.
I won't answer because there's no data sort of proving that.
Do you need data to determine whether drinking soda is healthy?
I think
I'm
facts
sorry, it's a serious question. Is there some, do you believe that perhaps drinking sodas every day is healthy?
The worst health outcome is hunger. When the individuals don't have the
Do you
resources.
satiate hunger with Coca-Cola?
I did not say that.
But you said that the worst health outcome is hunger, and I'm asking you about sugary sodas.
And I'm focusing on the nutrition needs and making sure that children have the resources.
Is your organization funded by?
So he asked her, "What do you find nutritional about it?" And she said, "Well, I'm not a nutritionist." Now she just says, "I'm focusing on the nutritional need and that they get."
Soft drink makers?
I am not in charge of development, but no.
It's not. Okay. Is your organization funded by organizations that make money from food stamps? Do organizations who profit off of food stamps fund your organization?
Awesome.
W-
Or businesses?
Doesn't
I mean, I can't comment to that. Happy to talk about the research that needed.
Does General Mills fund your organization?
I don't have access to that information.
I do. It's right here. They do fund your organization.
Yeah, is it right there?
Do they profit off of food stamps? Well, what does SNAP stand for?
Is a supplemental nutrition
beginning
assistance
again.
program.
Yeah, I know. We went around. All right, guys. It's that time again. Thank you very much. Do me a favor, hit that like button if you haven't already. Let me make sure we got enough. Let's see what we got here.
Yeah, Linda said that William is the Prince of Wales. No, but
Right.
they were talking about some Prince Louis. So I don't know who's that. So
Yeah, Prince
I don't
Louis.
know.
I don't know either.
I'm not a royal watcher. So
Right. Prince Louis, Kate's son.
okay, he's
Oh.
William and Kate's son. Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I got to go down these. Williams, thank you very much. I still don't know Charles. Don't think of Charles. I know a lot of people don't. Deer in the headlights. There you go. Oh, snap. Yeah, snap. William's son. Thank you, guys. Yeah, hit that like button if you haven't already, please. Thank you for being here tonight. I appreciate it. Watch the videos during the week and bring some friends next week if you can. I appreciate it.
Show up next week with friends.
Yeah, love you guys. Thank you very, very much. Have a good night. I'll talk to you later. Bye.